You are now listening to an Open Mind Industries production. Welcome to Open Mind Industries podcast, The Mind Unleashed. Sit back, relax, and unleash your mind.
Well, we had one in mind a few weeks after our last one, but
yeah, it just our time just didn't get together, and we didn't even know. And so much has happened since you've been gone, and it's been over 2 years now. So it's been like today. It was like holy crap.
Yeah, I thought about it today, and I thought, I have some time left this evening, so why not? Let's catch up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like. For those who don't know, if you haven't listened to the Terminator last one, we did one after Maurice visited Orlando, and we closed Terminator 2, and he was there, and then all of a sudden, the prop shop started putting things into Universal Orlando, and it was just a lot of finding things for him, and I got something for myself, and it was just so much stuff going on. And then you were tracking down a few other items. I know the one big ticket is the statute charge, but that, unfortunately, that will never happen, sadly. I don't even know. Till to this day, I don't know where it is. I don't know if an executive has it on his desk or somebody from the production took it or what have you.
I have heard rumors that it's still at Universal Studios Florida.
Okay.
I can't say much about it because I don't know much about it, but I have heard it's still on the property somewhere there.
Yeah, like I said, I was talking to one of our friends, Oliver Brunson, and I said, it's got to be somewhere. They finally took it out of the case a while back, a few months ago, and now the store, if you came to visit it, it doesn't look like anything you imagined anymore. Now, it's Universal Monsters.
It's themed after the Monster Show, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking about it.
Well, I think that the shop has three entrances, one from the outside, and the other one was the Terminator show, and the show ended, you walked into the shop, and the other one is the horror makeup show, so I think they've now seen it more in line with the horror makeup show.
Yeah, which would make sense, because what I can say, guys, about commissioning, and Maurices kind of asked me a few things, now that we're allowed to say a few things, is the building has now been extended, so it was abandoned for about half a year. They did nothing with it. Budget wasn't on point. Because the original rumor when T2, before it was supposed to close down, was supposed to be a revamp of Terminator Genesis. That's what I can say. Because we walked in on a meeting one morning, and it was like, hey, this goes nowhere. But they had all these engineers from Universal, and then like all the new projectors were supposed to come in, and they were going to redo do the robots and the audio. When Maurice was there, I emailed him and I emailed Dakota immediately, and I said, hey, things have been updated, and it literally said Genesis in the pre-show. And when that all fell through, and then we finally got the notice like, hey, you guys are closing down. I can't tell you when, but it's going to happen soon. It was a real shock to everybody that, okay, we've heard all these rumors for years and years and years, oh, we're closing, this is the last year, we're not negotiating contracts, and then they were like, no, we're going to really shut down. It was a shock. But now with the construction, after like a year, like it's out there if you guys really want to find out. Some guy put it on YouTube, but there were like people were taking photos of the side of the building because it's it's on private property, but it's basically public domain. And people were like, wow, like they really haven't done anything to the building. What's going on? And like we didn't know. And now that I have friends commissioning the building, I was offered to commission the building, but my hours just didn't sync up with it because it's like 18 hours straight. You got to work there. To sit there in a corner and just watch, a door, and it's, the building's been extended. I want to say about another 20 feet in the back, and on the side about 15 feet, and then the other side about another 15. So it hasn't been really confirmed of what it is. We do know it's going to be a stunt show. It's going to be a very small team, about like the Terminator size, a team of 4 or 5 maximum, or more. Who knows? Like this is what I've just been finding out that like either.
I have heard they had to expand the armory for keeping all the gun props and
They
stored
did,
there.
yeah, like
So
a lot of it,
they'll
yeah.
use more weaponry.
Yeah, and the thing is that we haven't really talked. I mean, I saw some of the actors walking around. I know Mark Matthews, for those who didn't know the name, he's been on 2 podcasts. One of our, you'll see him in the video. He ends up kissing the stage when it's over because it was his birthday on October 8th. You know, I even forgot. He's been there for eons and eons. I know that he said he got picked up for a technician position, so he'll be doing a lot of weapons stuff like that. So I mean,
Cool.
I'm glad that they kept the building the way it is, but I mean, the tech booth's still there. The facade is still there.
I think the facade was recently painted with more blue color or something.
No, it's kind of the same. I've taken a gander at it recently. I'll have to take a photo when I'm there. I had horror makeup on, I think, Monday and Tuesday. So while I'm there, I'm not in there for the morning, but I'll take a few front shots for you. But it's pretty much kind of the old same facade.
It's the same facade, but I saw some recent pictures and they had repainted some parts, and I have not compared it with the older one when the T2-3D show was still up and running, but it looked more blue.
Yeah,
fresh blue.
Yeah, they might have done something. I mean, every year they were going through, one of our in our park teams, they would go and they would actually match the paint again and redo it because of the sunlight at like 3 p.m. Florida time or Eastern Standard Time. It was just the hottest part of the day, and I was like always wondering how the paint didn't melt, and they were like, no, this is corkboard. This is what it would do. We'd have to change it every once in a while, and it was wild. But they might have changed it without my knowledge. I really haven't been down that main road in quite a bit because I walk down there to go leave the park sometimes. But it's kind of
it might be minor changes because even to me it felt something different.
Yeah.
But I could not pinpoint exactly what it was.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing. You kind of look at things from. Well, you're a super fan. So you're the person that would notice things that we wouldn't notice. We're like so immune to it. When somebody walks in and says, "Hey, I noticed this bolt or this wasn't correct from this. Like, what's the difference? What's going on?" And we don't even recognize it because we're so immune to the daily operations of it. And I mean, that was things when you walk in.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like having a child. You see it every day, and you don't notice the growth by day. But when people who see the child, like say once in a month, they will see the growth far more better than you do.
Than you will, yeah. It's kind of weird though, because once we can talk about now that when Terminator did close, we didn't even know they were selling anything until I think you got a hold of me, and you said, "Ollie, you need to rush over to." The prop shop,
March 16, 2017.
Oh wow, you got it marked down. Holy crap!
No, I know it by heart. I remember it was a very busy day for me. We did have a lot of chats about the items, and you had to rush for me.
Oh yeah. I literally woke up and I'm like, wait, I gotta do what now? And it was like, well, you're the only one closest there. And I tried getting there early, and I got a hold of Oliver.
It totally dropped out of nowhere. Nobody had seen this coming. And nobody.
That was the one thing that you kept saying. You said, "How do we know if things are going to pop up?" And I said, "I really don't know," because the prop shop guys was just put in about a year and a half ago. A year and a half ago.
I visited the prop shop in that same weekend when the Terminator show closed because I already had a feeling there might turn up some props from the show. And they kept saying, yeah, you gotta email me because we don't know if you get stuff and we don't have stuff right now. So I kept emailing, but yeah, when time passes by, you go down in emails and you hate to be the guy to constantly bother those people with your reminders. So eventually I stopped doing that.
Yeah,
also with the guest service.
I mean, the one thing is when I said I first met you, I really didn't know who you were like a year ago, and everybody was like, well, I was like, the reason how I became friends with you and got to know who you were as a person, Dakota had you on. And I was like, okay, he knows Dakota, and you were like, oh, I'm not trying to be like rude, or I'm not trying to be like a super fan, but I really want to have some questions, and I was like, all right, I'll answer the best I can because I've been there for eons. And with trying to find the props, and they were dropped like a sack of bricks. None of us knew where they were going, what they were pulling off. Because, like I said, they started like demolishing little by little, But then they were, I think there was like a budget hiatus because of Fast and the Furious, which I can now announce. Yeah, Fast and the Furious, guys, if you haven't been on it, it's a garbage ride. Don't even, Universal has lost so much money with it. They won't even talk about how much money they lost. Like, they don't even acknowledge it anymore. They really don't. I've talked to so many people, and they're like, oh, how's the ride like? And I'm like, it's nothing. I mean, the queue is amazing. It looks like there were two teams fighting to show its individuality. When you walk to the queue, it's just outstanding. The ride in general, it was just like somebody was fighting.
The queue is the garage scene with all the cars, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I've not been there myself. My last visit was when the Terminator show closed in 2017, but I'm still following Universal on many YouTube videos. And the queue does look very good, but the show, the ride itself, it looks more like a rehash of King Kong. You're also
if you look at the walls carefully, you'll see things that were going to happen that didn't happen. They covered a lot of things up with plywood and try to paint over it, and you're just like, what happened? And I had friends that were commissioning the ride, and they went, so how is it? It's supposed to be like this brand new thing, and they're like, oh my god, it's just horrible. A funny story with Dakota, because Dakota got to go to Universal Hollywood, and he did a little bit of researching. Apparently, when they go through the sequence, it was raining, and they had to put the shields down on the tram that takes you around the park and shows you stuff. And all of a sudden, the lady goes, "Oh yeah, that's kind of Fast and Furious. We don't really talk about that." Everybody's kind of sat there and was like, whatever." He's like, so you can kind of see that it's kind of falling apart over there too.
That must really hurt Universal Studios.
Well, it's hurting us on our side of the pond because, it's Orlando is supposed to be this big destination thing. And the thing with, Terminator 2 closing down, and the sad part is, I hate to even say this, like, this has been about 2 weeks since I've been with work, and once a day, surprisingly, somebody goes, "Excuse me, hey," and I'm now at the Horror Makeup Show also, where I work, besides Jimmy Fallon. And the guest comes up and he goes, "Hey, we've been here a couple years ago. Do you know what that Terminator 2 show is? It has the gun and the motorcycle." And I'm like, "Oh, man." And I'm like, you know what? It's been gone for like 2 years now. This year's going to be like our third year, I think. I'm like, you're not wrong. If you go down here, there it is. And he was like, "Oh, wow, what happened?" I'm like, I don't know. I was like, just budgetary reasons, He goes, "Do you know what's going in there?" I said, "No, I don't." I said,
it felt so rushed when they closed it. I think it was a month, the announcement was made, and you had a month to visit the show.
Yeah, it felt so fast. When we were announced,
it felt really fast. I had to arrange all the travel and the hotel.
I remember that, and you said, "Hey, is it true?" And like, I might not have time to go on holiday. I just told the boss I have to go, and it
was I think on one of my last days of my holiday. I still remember I was going to a store with my wife and kids.
Yeah.
And I just got a message from someone, and I was really, oh man, this is, couldn't they have told me that earlier or sent the message out?
We didn't even know.
I am already, no, you didn't know, but I was having my last days of my holiday, so I had to go to my boss. I was just one day back on my work and already had to ask for another week.
Oh, I can imagine.
Just because of that.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. Like, I remember you got a hold of me and you said, "Hey, question." I went, "Go ahead." And you went, "But our time difference, guys, is very different. Right now, it's, I don't know, what time is it? It's 12 o'clock there? 12:05 a.m.? It's like 3:05.
Now, you mean?
Yeah, what time is it now?
It's now 9 o'clock in the evening.
Okay. But yeah, so our time difference is kind of different. So when I'm waking up, Maurice is kind of like up doing his thing. He's dealing with the kids. He's working. And so
I'm already almost done with work then,
yeah. We'll usually chat back and forth, and he's usually like, "Is it true? What's going on? And what do you know?" And I'm like, "Here's what I know. Because I was actually sick the day of the announcement. I had food poisoning, and I decided to stay home, and like, I don't want to, feel like crap." And my friend calls me out of the blue, and he goes, "Hey, aren't you scheduled for a meeting?" And my girlfriend gives me a call because she's working technician over at Horror Makeup. She's shutting down the show and turning off all the house lights and doing what she's got to do for the shutdown. And she goes, "Hey, aren't you coming over for a meeting? Are you okay?" And I'm like, No, I took the day off today. I wasn't really feeling so well. I'll be in tomorrow." But I started getting calls. I started getting tweeted at. Everybody's like, "Hey, man, something's going on." And I'm like, "Nah, this can't be true." And finally, somebody hits me up and they go, "No, Ollie, it really is true. We really are closing October 8th. I went, No. So when I got in that morning, our boss was like, nobody's clocking in, clock in, go wait in the break room, which is like our break room was super tiny at T2. I think I took Maurice down the hallway. I showed him where it was, but I couldn't take him inside the door. But I took him down the VIP hallway and stuff like that. But we were supposed to also...
We didn't go to the break room, but we went to a small corridor or something.
Yeah, it was very, very tiny. There was a small,
yeah.
supervisor
to
room.
the VIP room.
Yeah, VIP room you'd go through, and everybody was lovely. I'm surprised everybody there was as lovely as they were to you. I think once they realized you're with me, they're like, oh, he's been here for years. He wouldn't send somebody here he wouldn't trust, Because even when you met the actors, like the actors were all taking meet and greets with their families. Like we weren't really supposed to be in there, but once they realized it was me and who you were, they're like, oh, okay, he's cool. And Mark got comfortable with talking with you, and so did Mike Sawyer. And you were actually teaching them a lot of things. They were like, oh, what's this? Like I didn't know about that,
Yeah, it's like you said, you work there every day. You don't notice the little things, or you easily overlook them. And like me, I don't visit the show that often. So every time I go, I was really checked on. Oh, I have to do that, and don't forget to do that, and look that up, and take a picture of that.
You had such a checklist. I was like, oh wow, like we're really, because I was only planning on staying for the day and taking like photos and videos for you, and you're like, you had such a checklist of like I would have forgot to do certain things.
Yeah, but I visit once in several years.
Yeah.
And every visit could have been my last one. I visited Orlando.
You got lucky to come on the last visit, because I remember I didn't really know who you were. I knew because you took a photo with my old lead, Amber, who's still with the company, and she does other things around the company. And that video got on YouTube, and it was like, oh yeah, have you guys seen this video? And I remember I was backstage one day, and I was like, we're on YouTube, and everybody's like, yeah, we took a photo with the guy. Like they didn't really know who you were; they just knew you were like a super fan, and stuff like that. The people knew of you; they just didn't know who you really were. Now they know who you are.
And that's where Facebook came in for me. It was very useful and easy to connect to people who work there, who might be able to answer some of my questions, because, like I said, I cannot visit daily, so all my questions I have to gather, and Facebook is for me the very good way to answer questions to the people who have worked on the show. And if they don't want to talk to me, they can simply ignore me, and I don't blame them, because for some, I'm just an unknown guy. And I can easily understand why they would not accept any invitation or message from me.
Yeah.
And some people, like you and Dakota, they accepted and they helped me.
Well, there were a lot of fans who come through a lot, and they would ask us certain questions, and we knew our super fans from our people were just like, no, I like the show. No people that no, I really love the show. Can I please know a little more about it? Like I would love to work here. And Dakota was like that. Dakota loved T2. He actually had the photo of Sarah Connor, like always we had a tablet, you would scan the express pass and stuff like that, and he would always put the photo like up there, and I was like, where the hell did you get that? And he's like, oh yeah, it was like a DVD thing, and I got it, and I bring it with me to work every day, because like Dakota lives that life. He loves to play the part, and me being there forever, I kind of like, okay, it's a job, I have to take care of the guests, get them in, get them out, get them in, get them out. I'm thinking about the next show, how many people I got in there, making sure an actor doesn't get tripped, because they're using live blanks. You don't want anybody getting hurt. And there's so many things.
Trying to survive the day.
Survive the day, get through it. And there were days I loved it. I loved talking to the Make-A-Wish kids and people. And then they're like, I talked to a Saudi prince, one day, because he was a huge Terminator fan. And I remember talking to the Saudi prince real quick, and he goes, and I didn't really know who he was. I still don't really know who he was. But the VIP guy got angry with me. He was like, you're not supposed to be talking to him. I'm like, he asked me about Terminator. Of course I'm going to ask her his question. And it was about Sarah Connor, like Sarah Connor Chronicles. And he was like, have you seen the show? And I'm like, the TV show? And I'm like, yeah. What do you think? And we started talking about that and the show. And he got to meet the actor, but he's like, no, I want to meet everybody. I want to take a photo with everybody. I'm like, oh, okay. So everybody had to like stop what they were doing when we all clocked out, took a photo with him and his friends. And he was like super happy. He's like, no, I don't want to meet the actors. I want to meet you guys. Like, I want to talk to you guys, because... And that was pretty cool talking to like a prince from Saudi Arabia, going like, no, we really love the show, and like I want to know about the show, and how are you guys? Like, how was your day? And like, this must be really cool. And you must get a lot of questions. And when I first worked there, I loved it. I really enjoyed it. When you get kind of burned into it, you kind of But it was like, I didn't hate the job. I didn't hate the show. It was just, it was time to move on within Universal. You need to kind of get that mindset of it. Because I have a lot of friends that work for other venues that are like, I love this, but I need to kind of move on to something new to kind of clear myself from it. But yeah. So when it closed, and we really didn't know, and when it finally did, it kind of hit everybody kind of hard. It was like, oh wow, we really are closing. For the actors in general, I felt bad for more of them than I did myself, because a lot of them had to find new jobs. A lot of their contracts got null and void, but they were. From what I can say, they a lot of them were lied to, because Universal had no idea what they were. When you said it was so fast and sudden, Universal had no idea what they were going to do with them at all. A few of the actors stated, to me afterwards, once they closed, like, hey man, like we were told we have to use all our vacation time, like our jobs are null and void. Universal doesn't know what they're going to do with us. A lot of that is still true. There's only a few actors still from the show that are still on property, that are still working their butts off. A lot of the lesser known actors had to go into different positions inside the park. You will see them out and about. Like I'll talk to them, and I'll see them like doing security and stuff. And I'm like, hey, and they're like, hey. So they're like, how do you know them? I'm like, I worked with them for over 10 years, day in, day out, so of course I know who they are. But, it was wild that, it's shocking that you had to go through all that hell to, find your things and do stuff like that. And I mean, the last podcast we talked about the flag, and I've learned a little bit more about the flag. Yeah, the flag was with the training thing. I talked to a couple of the actors about that. That's where it was it was a training flag that they would hand off to each other when they were done training backstage. There were a few hazing things they would do backstage.
It was a nice momentum, having the flag there, with closing the show, the flag that also was present at the boot camp. The first batch of actors had to go through before opening the show.
Yeah. I mean, I talked to a lot of the newer actors. I was talking to them, and they're like, how do you guys train? They're like, well, we come to the show at night, and then we train, at the show. And Ben Patient was saying over in Japan, the way he had to train over there for, his thing. And I was like, oh, so it's completely different. He's like, yeah, what you saw over at Orlando was completely different from the way we trained in Japan, or we trained in Hollywood. But it was kind of the same concept for them to kind of, train.
I know both. All shows did have the boot camp. Captain Dial Dale, I remember correctly.
I think that's who it is.
I know the Florida one had it at some kind of citrus farm. I know the Hollywood team did practice at, I think, some police property. And
yeah, I think they had a property they would train on.
Yeah, and the Japan crew trained on site at Universal Studios.
Yeah. That's something because I was talking to Ben about that one in Japan. He was like, yeah, we would train on site. We would go up this thing. So we were rigged up. And we're like, hope you'd like to jump higher. And he's like, oh, what? This is higher now? So he was very nervous about his thing. It was good talking to him about his Terminator experience. But a lot of things have changed since, it's closed. And, like I said, we were looking for the props. And that day was wild because I literally, like I said, I had to wake up and run there. I had to jog over. I had about 1.5 miles to run. I went, okay. Maurice was like, I'll go tomorrow. No, like, you got to go today. And I'm like, all right. So I kind of was like, all right, well, later we had to, like, work on an agreement for some, I was like, cause I had to get up and grab lunch. And I'm like, oh, I got over there thinking, okay, there's going to be so much there. There were photos. And the minute I got there, half of the stuff was gone. But
I think you were still one of the earliest guys to get there.
I was the second person to get there. I was the second person. I got in, I think it was around 10 something that morning. And here I am thinking, okay, I can breathe. I can, like, take a quick breath. I got over there and the doors were already open. I looked at Oliver and no, was it Oliver? It was Oliver. And I said, hey, like, where's the stuff? And he goes, bro, half of it just got taken. I went, what do you mean? He goes, I don't know if I should say his name. Eric, I won't give his last name, but his name is Eric, this guy who's a collector.
I know Eric as the first, he had dips.
Yeah.
He was at the first. I think there was another fellow, Todd, that came after him, because he managed to score a foot.
Yeah.
and then you came in.
Yeah, and well, there were still feet there. There was like a thigh. There was still, there was the card scanners that never worked anymore. I grabbed something for myself, and then I caught the chess piece. I caught a few other things, some lettering, some signage, and some good stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember some guy some kid was holding the chess piece for the T70, and he goes, "What's this for?" And I kind of spoke up, and I was like, "It's for Terminator." And he kind of just wants to go slam it on the ground. I grabbed it from his hands, and I ended up putting it between my legs. I went, "Nah, no one's getting this." So I had to message Maurice immediately. I'm like, "Hey, it's this price, And I was like, "What do you want to do? Do you want it?" And he was like, how good is it? I was taking all the photos I could. They even pulled me behind the cashier register where nobody's supposed to go because I worked there. And they're like, "Go through the box real quick." So I'm going through the box. I'm finding parts. I'm finding pieces. I'm like, "Geez, this is what we have left." And Oliver goes, "Yeah, this is all we got in today." But Eric cleaned us out. I think there's another guy. The other guy came in. He picked something else, but Eric took most of the big stuff.
Yeah, I think he took the best parts, and I think it was at least half.
I remember
the
actors were fucking pissed. I got a call from a couple of the actors, and they said, "Hey, did you get anything?" I said, "Yeah, I got 2 letters. I bought 2 S's because I think I was still cutting the ass with a laser cutter and having it engraved and giving a piece of it to each actor with a close date. But I still got to remake a keychain, a Terminator keychain, which I was Maddie from Shapely has helped me out with getting that file for Stephanie.
I got one.
Yeah.
You gave me one of those keychains.
Yeah, I kept apparently. Yeah, I'm gonna make my own version of it and kind of clean it up. Maddie, I sent him over a new model file and said thank you to him and stuff like that. I had to ship it back to 2 of 3 of them back to Germany, which he finally got a few months after. I didn't know how long it took for post, but I wasn't paying for a tracking label because that was an extra $40 in UPS here. And I'm like, $40? They're like, yeah, $40 for a tracking label. I'm like, no, just send it. Jesus.
And they got even more expensive recently.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I talked to Maddie when I sent it. I said, "Hey," he goes, "Hey, I didn't get anything, Ollie. I do trust you, but I didn't get anything yet." I said, "It should be on your way. Everything's correct on my end. If it's not, I'll make it right. Because you were polite enough to use the model. Because that's how I am. But yeah, we got over there to the thing, and I was texting. It was a crazy day. It was hot. It was sweaty. here I am sitting on a corner, and I'm just getting numbers. And I'm like, the thing I grabbed for myself, which is actually my video on the podcast, I've actually got it up on the wall now. I'm going to stick it next to my T2 shirt. And what I can say is we made out pretty well because the next day I went to go pick up stuff up. I was told in my ear that you better take your stuff because, they can't get you now for it, but you guys were charged differently. Your pricing was, no one knew what the hell it was, so they couldn't price it in time. So Maurice saved a lot of money, and so did I. The sign that I got for $150 was actually $400. Maurice's sign was actually $300, but he got it for, I think, $100 USD. And I was told, I was like, "Are we in trouble?" They're like, "No, you're not in trouble. You guys paid for it. You're fine. The problem is somebody didn't mark it correctly, and you guys are fine." So.
Well, I already paid the full price for that chest armor, which was a lot. So
yeah, I mean, I was like,
I don't think they will have lost money on us.
No, they didn't. And the thing is with the chest armor, I wanted to smack the kid in the face because he was like, "What's this for?" And he's swinging it around. I'm like, "That's from a damn robot, and you better put that down," because nobody had no idea. It's like a piece of fiberglass. No one knows what the hell it is, and
It's like and it's just a small part of a puzzle, huh?
Yeah.
It's only a chest front part, and I can imagine without that, if you have not taken a good look at those robots, it might really look like I don't know what.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, it looks like nothing. And it kind of had parts on it and stuff like that were put in. Just boxing that up for you, picking it up the next day with my girlfriend. I was like, "We gotta go pick all this stuff up." We go through and they had it all boxed up for us, and that's when I was whispered "Hey, you guys really scored yesterday. Congrats! Good luck." I was like, "If anything else happens, let us know." But I was like,
You almost had to rent a truck to transport over.
Oh my! I don't even know how Eric got half of that stuff out. I know he had to bring it on property or drive on.
Well, he bought the gun.
Yeah,
and you know how big that gun is.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So, I don't know if you want to tell the people about what happened with Maurice. Finally got a gun. He got the T-70 gun, but such a tragedy.
Well, I finally got it. Eric got the first gun, and I was also in touch with the merchandise department of Universal Studios, and eventually they contacted me. They had another gun, so in the end, I bought the second gun they had for sale. And both guns are from the Hollywood show. This has different guns compared to the Orlando show. So I finally got my gun, and it got a little bit of damage during transport, but it's not like it's completely broken or
Yeah.
it can be fixed.
I really wish,
But at least I got my gun.
I really
and
wish they
in the end,
it better.
Yeah, but I've asked them that, and if they would have packed them better, if they had to build a crate, then it would have cost a lot more money. Because of all the weight and the construction. So I think in the end, even though it got damaged, it can still be fixed.
Yeah.
I think price-wise, it was good.
Yeah, it was, because it was sitting there for a while, and I was like, everybody was like, have you talked to Maurice yet? And I'm like, because they kept saying, I kept walking in to check on everything, and before you in person, everybody was like, Oliver's like, I'm still in negotiations, man. Like, I'm telling them to get rid of it. They can make money right now. We can get it sold, because it was just sitting there collecting dust, you know.
Yeah, I know. I think I was messaging Oliver almost every day, but the thing was, we knew the prices which Eric paid for the first.
We did, yeah. We definitely knew, and
so I knew the value for the gun for Universal, and then for the second gun, they charged. Almost $1,000. Yeah, they charged $1,000 more.
Yeah,
which is a lot of money.
Yeah, which is no bueno. Yeah, it was good.
I told them I can buy it for the original no price, or otherwise I will have to pass on it. So
and nobody was touching it. Nobody was even looking at it.
Yeah, it's such a big, heavy item. It's just a big mass. It's large.
Yeah,
how the hell are you going to store it? Or
the funny thing is, we used to hold those backstage because they used to take them off the robots for maintenance because they had to fix the sparkers and stuff. And they would be sitting inside the glass machine room, like our huge glass machine room where you wash the glasses. And we would just play with them. We would just pick up the heads and play with the 70s. We would just play like the stupid things we did there. It's so sad. It's so sad.
Perhaps it's better not to tell me what everybody.
No, it's now. I mean, now it's if the building's closed, none of us can be fired for what I'm going to say. It's all We used to gun techs used to have them, and they used to set them up, and we used to just hold them in our arms and just carry them around, take photos with them, And the parts, we had the head in our put the head in Romeo and Juliet to be or not to be, We used to do some fun. The techs would be working on it. I remember one of the techs, he put the head on wrong, and it was kind of squeaking. The one like, hey, the head's not straight. He goes, whatever. Nobody will notice. We're like, one of the executives comes walking in because he loves the show, and he's like, hey, how come Robot 3 the head's all cockeyed? Oh yeah, I thought nobody would notice. It's like you better get that head adjusted. Yeah, so. But I'm glad we got what we got. But it was such a pain in the ass. I think the last thing that popped up was the exit bins finally. Because they finally pulled those up on the floor from the exit, and those were going for like $500. I forget how much.
You mean the exit signs from?
No, the bins, the actual glasses bins.
Oh, the glasses bins. They were $400, and I think they reduced them to $300.
No way, man! Somebody tweeted at me about that. They're like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "No."
The first price, the initial price was $400. For a single bin.
Yeah.
And that's for a bin that just collects 3D glasses.
Yeah,
nothing Cyberdyne on it or Terminator related.
Nothing related.
Anything that it could be just a generic prop or decoration. It's a lot of money. But also with the triangular Cyberdyne logo, the decoration, the display that was in the Cyber image.
That one took forever for me to get it. I kept asking them, like, when are you going to remove it? How much is it going to be? And they're like, we don't know yet. I'm like, well, let me know. There's my number. Like, let me know. And then finally when it popped up and I got tweeted, Oliver messaged me and I was like, oh man, that's too much. That
was $1,500.
Yeah, not even.
Fine.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't justify it. And I said, what do you think? And you go, that's too much. But you
That's
ended up
way too
making
much.
out. You ended up making out in the longer run. Like once the thing was done, and you were like, I can't really tell you about what I found, but I found it, and you finally released it on your own page. You finally got your wish. You finally completed it.
Yeah. We can talk about it.
Yeah, we can now. Yeah,
I I was waiting for to finish end up about the gun, so I can make
let's finish
a
the gun.
next look to the
let's finish
to
the gun.
my grill, because I like I said, I bought the gun, and the gun is so heavy and so large that it's very hard to display it in a nice way. But eventually, after 2 years, I managed to buy a full or almost full T-70 robot, which did not have a gun. So in the end, I had a separate gun and a separate robot unit, and I can combine them. So I almost have a full T-70 robot now, or at least the shelf. I still have to make the metal skeleton.
Yeah, the interior. I saw them getting taken apart years ago, and this is when they would do like yearly maintenance or monthly maintenance, and one of them would just take it offline, and you could see all the techs working on it. I was like, geez, that's like crazy heavy. And they're like, it's heavy, it's insane. It took like 3 technicians just to take it apart.
Yeah, and if not for the heavy gun, it could be a very simple structure underneath. But because the gun is so damn heavy, you have to have a steady metal construction just for the weight of that gun.
Yeah, I would say either use aluminum or steel, like steel bar, or do it over that. But like, it's crazy when like I saw all the parts finally, and like, listen, this is something I never imagined I had, but it's so damn heavy. Because you weren't really thinking when you were taking photos of it from behind and the side, the days we were closing, and everybody was there, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna leave it up we'll leave it up, and so you can get photos." Everybody was helping you out, getting photos from behind it, and in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
Sawyer took photos, Mark took photos for you. Somebody else wanted the They said, did he get photos of this side? I went, I think he did. And they're climbing up on top of the robot for you, taking photos.
Yeah. Alan, everybody helped me out.
Yeah.
But when you look at the guns, you think, oh, there must be some hollow casting, not much inside, perhaps, because perhaps some tube for the gas, the fire,
the sparkers
or something.
Yeah.
And that just I cannot spin around it. That's just really heavy.
Well, you don't realize how heavy fiberglassing is. Fiberglassing is like when I grabbed the chest piece. I was packing up the box for Maurice. Finally, we said, okay, we had the film canister, because the film canister my girlfriend found. That was the first thing we found. And she's walking up, she's like, does that guy, and she knows who you are now, but she was like, does the guy from Netherlands, Maurice is his name? I said, yeah. She goes, well, you know what these are. And she took a photo, and I said, I don't have the money right now, because I'm not getting paid. Can you grab it? And she was like, you owe me dinner. I was like, okay, whatever, just grab it. So I had to make a deal with my girlfriend, and luckily she's like, well, do you know what that means? And I said, yeah, I do. It means left screen, left eye. So left screen. She's like, and what just closed down? I was like, I already texted you, and you're like, I was like, what do you think? And you're like, smart girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like, you have a smart girlfriend, because only she would know. Nobody else noticed. She's looking.
No, I think there were 2 cans at that moment, and one did sell just before you, I think.
I think it did, but it had no signage, though. It had nothing that said...
Yeah, no signage, yeah.
And you said, I don't want anything that doesn't say T2, but can you prove to me that it was in there? I said, they would bring those prints in left and right, and that was the first prop.
Yeah, it was the very first prop, and up till that moment, I don't know, I think it was by the end of 2017, that's December, when this came available. So I had to jump in at least the opportunity to own a single item from the show, even if it does not scream Terminator.
Oh, it was definitely in the building. And she goes, "What would store that?" I said, That's actually real film. They would literally. That's probably one of the store canisters, because they used real canisters. They would probably stick that on the rooms, and they would hold it there, and then it would pull out, because the film got so destroyed so many times.
I put that can to good use.
I saw.
If you know, I was able to buy the 17mm film, and it came only I think of those reels, and I only had one can, so I used the other can that you bought for me for the other film,
Yeah.
and I managed to track down another can to store the third wheel into it. So in the end, it still has the Terminator film inside.
That's crazy. But like to get back to it, yeah. So like the fiberglass, when I first packed this first box, I mean I was very concerned because I never shipped anything to the Netherlands because I'm like, oh crap. I mean I put like so much packing material in there, and I'm like I was super gluing stuff to there and wrapping it up so damn good. And Oliver gave me like a huge thing of bubble wrap. He was like, here, keep bubble wrapping it and packing everything correctly because I was like, I don't want this to get like stolen or robbed or whatever. And
Yeah.
And the chest
And
piece was heavy though. It was a good
yeah,
few pounds.
I don't know. I don't know the weight, but it was heavy.
Yeah,
But the signs were also heavy because
they
they were
were.
full
Yeah, I put
metal.
those on the bottom,
Yeah.
and I said, because I was my mailman came to pick them up because I did a USPS to pick up. My mailman's thinking, okay, I think I put a good hefty weight on there just in case. He comes up and he works out and he's just like, oh cool, Ollie's got a package. It's going to like whatever, and he scans it for to go to the customs agent and all that stuff. He's thinking it's heavy as hell. He picks it up. He's like, oh, there's nothing in here. He's thinking like 60, 70 pounds. He goes, there's nothing in here. I saw him the next day. He goes, oh, your package got picked up. Just want to let you know. I said, yeah, I saw it in the tracking system. He goes, you said it was like 50 pounds. I said, I didn't know. I didn't have a scale to weigh it. I said, it felt heavy enough.
Yeah. It was heavy.
Yeah.
And even you can pack it very well, but doing transport it can get smashed and crates.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it survives the trip, then customs here will pick it up. They might open it and they might.
God, I was so worried. I was so worried about that.
I
wrote so much
it,
stuff on it. I wrote, what it was in, and what they would find, and like the gun was the one thing, but you don't, like you said, the weight of finally making your robot and looking at all of it, and not realizing, oh my god, that gun is a real big centerpiece, but just being on its own axis is so damn heavy. You didn't really even you don't notice that.
I should somehow measure the weight of the gun, but I still have to look how, because I don't think it will fit on my I don't know the English word for it, to take the measurement.
Oh yeah, I got dimensions. Yeah.
Yeah, not dimension. The a scale. You can step on it and it will give you your own weight.
Oh yeah,
I don't know the English word.
Gotcha. It's a scale, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if the ounces would be or the weight would be of it, because it's all differently the way they would place it on a scale, and they would get like, okay, it weighs this many grams on this thing, or this many ounces on this, this side of it. So not even I knew. We picked them up backstage with one arm, and everybody's like, oh, they weren't that heavy. I'm like, the Orlando ones weren't that heavy. I was picking it up with two hands and just curling it. And
you really need two arms just to carry it because the dimensions are so
it wasn't
large.
Really, I mean, cause I picked them up because we were told one day we had to move them because they were sitting on top of the glass machine. I don't know why they were there. They were just sitting there. I guess why they were ready for maintenance, or one of the guys, because they had no room backstage, because they would work on the targets, and they would work on stuff like that. And how the targets worked is they had like a little mechanism in it to chop the paper up, and the paper would drop and stuff like that. So you'd see all those being worked on. Because I remember one of the target pieces fell, almost hit a guest. One of the pieces that would kind of flop down and then go back up, the mechanism, it broke off and then it fell into the crowd. It fell near one of the robots, and one of our guys picked it up and went, "Oops," and brought it backstage. And they're like, "Okay, no more target shaking." So that's how bad the building was falling apart.
Yeah, it's talking about the building and the construction and everything they're doing at the moment. It was said that Universal would open a new show in 2019. It doesn't look like it will be happening this year. Do you know if it's been postponed?
So it's been. Here's what I can say, and here's what I kind of do know. I've been talking with a lot of my friends that are commissioning it because it's still kind of one of the biggest secrets. What Mark said recently, and a lot of us have said recently, Universal has been keeping this one of the biggest secrets known to man. We were told it was supposed to be announced on a few months ago when they announced Epic Universe, which is their newest theme park. And then we were told, like, hey, it's going to be announced when Star Wars Land opens up, Galaxy's Edge opens up in Disney World. Nothing was said. Yeah. And my friend said to me, he goes, it's been a cluster fuck because it's just been like, okay, this team's gonna be leaving first, and entertainment comes in, and this person does this, and they haven't announced what the show title is. They haven't announced what it really is. They haven't announced. It's just they've been behind schedule, and it's been like, okay, well, later this year. No, not later this year. It looks like maybe later in January. And so it's because like I got brought over to the horror makeup show recently because my boss was like, hey, I want to put you back over in that area because I want to see you get first dibs on getting back over there. Would you want to? And I said, yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I'm still thinking that. I'm like, do I really want to go back to a show? I'm kind of getting used to working at a ride where it's more comfortable. There's more things to do. It's more, you can walk around more. I might still go back, but we're thinking, from what I heard the other day, it looks like later this year. I'm thinking maybe January, maybe March, maybe early that time, but because it looks about almost completed, but they're doing test cycles and cycling it and stuff like that. And there's a funny photo I have to send over to you because it's still showing up as Terminator up on a scheduling thing. I started laughing.
I think the at least what I would expect, the last thing you would have to do before opening a soft opening a show is the front, the facade.
Yeah, and that's the
because
thing.
That is what will be your sign. It will advertise the ride to attract people.
Yeah,
and they had some. They are working on the facade as we speak. So.
Yeah, I really
somehow
don't know.
It still feels they're in the final stage of.
They're in the final stage, but it seems very incomplete still. It seems like they're very. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know why they're so hush hush about it. Everybody and their mother's like, why are they being so quiet about it? Like, why aren't they getting us excited for it? And my guess, honestly, is Fast and the Furious. Fast and the Furious kind of took a big dip, so it's kind of like, do we bite off more than we can chew, or they really messed up with financing with the company because they really wasted a lot of money with Fast and the Furious.
But on the other hand, after Fast and the Furious, we had a new ride for Harry Potter, Hagrid's ride. Which seems to be quite good. I'm only hearing positive things about it.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, I can literally say about that ride. I mean, I can tell you a funny part about the new show in Hagrid's. So I was told the other day, as one of my commissioning friends came over, and they were kind of talking with my supervisor, and they said, and they kind of whispered, and they're like, well, we do know what the name is, but I can't say it. But Hagrid's wasn't really supposed to be Hagrid's motorbike mystical creatures adventure. It was supposed to be like something else. But apparently they were sitting there like with 3 different names, and they couldn't kind of figure it out, so they kind of said blah 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 blah, and that's what it became. The new name for the venue, which I'm still not allowed to say, but it's kind of that nature. And he goes, can you think of a couple words? And I went, maybe. And he goes, it doesn't. And I whispered it in my ear. I went, oh man. He whispered the last part of what it would be. It's supposed to be. And I'm like, oh, really? Really? He goes, think of an 80s name. Like something so cliche. And I went, oh God, really? That's the last part of the name? He goes, that's what they're thinking about. And I went, oh God. So with Hagrid, that's kind of like their name was kind of like that too. They didn't really know what they wanted, and that's when it became this long name. So
okay.
I'm just like, what?
I'll figure it out.
I will. We'll probably talk off pod, but
yeah, sure.
But yeah, I can't really say on pod. But yeah,
don't worry. You should not say things you're not allowed.
Yeah, I'm not really allowed to say, but it's a really 80s term, and I was just like, really, they're gonna go with that long of a word? That's too long. But we'll see. We don't even know if that's gonna be the actual name of it. We're just told like, hey. But yeah, it's been really hit or miss. And even I said to somebody the other day, I went, why is it so quiet? Like, why are they saying it? Like, getting us excited for it and ready for it. And it's supposed to be this new action-packed show and things. And what I do know, it's going to be very cool. I did see some engineering stuff, and I was like, oh, that's going to be pretty neat. So yeah, it's going to be a lot better than T2. There's going to be a lot of new things that even I'm just like, wow, I can't wait to kind of see it. And
you think it will be an improvement?
I think it will be an improvement. What I've seen from the engineering side of it, and I've heard, I haven't been in the building yet. What I've seen from engineers and stuff, and I've been told, said it's gonna be something else. It's gonna be something we really something. And I went, that's good to hear. It's gonna be an improvement. It's gonna be something. How long the
Okay.
longevity is it's going to be? I'm not sure, because there's always usually that it's like the Star Wars land lately it's been up, and then when it opened here in Orlando, it just dropped. And sadly, we had to drop our annual passes for Disney because the prices have been going up and up and up and up, and it just didn't fit our
Mm-hmm.
budget this year. And we're like, oh, it doesn't fit our budget, so we just can't do it. Um, we're getting charged the same amount as Florida residents as people from
Okay.
out of seas, so it's like whoa, or overseas. And even the Galaxy's Edge in Hollywood has kind of suffered attendance wise because Disney is just spending money, and
Yeah.
they're not recouping it in a way. So they're like, let's put it in theme park tickets. And Orlando, Universal, same thing. It's their prices are kind of but they're kind of working on how they can make it better for guests, because we keep telling them, like, lower the prices for a little bit, and get guests on certain days. You'll
Yeah.
approve your attendance at the same time, and they're going to buy drinks, they're going to buy food, so you'll still make money that way. You don't have to lower your food
Yeah.
prices, but your attendance prices you need to lower, because that's what gets people in the door. How long are they going to stay? Who knows? Probably the whole day, half the day. People want to see the park, they want to have some fun, but they don't want to spend $300.
No.
They'd rather spend the $79.99. Oh, on a Wednesday, okay,
Yeah.
one day a month. Okay, everybody and their grandmother will be here. All the tourists will be like, $79 for one, and I'm in, and then they'll go ahead and they'll buy all the Harry Potter merchandise or etc. merchandise, and you make all
Yes.
your money from there, and that's how you do it. That Universal's kind
At
of
least
learning.
you have some good attendance.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like Universal's kind of learning that too, and they're like, ooh, we really kind of. I think Disney right now. I heard recently, this has nothing to do with Terminator, but they did fire she stepped down, their executive of Galaxy's Edge, because of best pricing or something like that happened. So it's a good area.
I've heard Galaxy Edge is disappointing in revenue for Disney at the moment.
It is. It's very beautiful when you walk in. I have some video. It's
generating the crowd they would have liked it.
No, it's not. And the thing is, I think it's not people that are. It's not much to see. It was open like one ride. The Smugglers Run, the ride you get on, and you can pilot. You can either pilot, or you can be a gunner, or you can be an engineer. Those are the 3 spots you could do. But after that, it was like there's nothing to do. There's nothing a shop. You can try the food.
Yeah, but that's also how it started for Harry Potter at Universal.
Yeah.
At first, you just had one ride, or two. Forbidden
Two,
Journey,
yeah. You would have the Forbidden Journey and then
the other
Dragon
the other
Challenge.
Hagrid ride.
Yeah. It was a
But
Dragon.
you had the whole diagonal alley and all the town of Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I'm not really into the Harry Potter lore.
No, I can feel you on that one. Yeah, when I walk in that area, everybody's like, "What do you like to do?" I'm like, "I like to see the shows. There's a few things to do inside the shops that you don't really know about."
But it's mostly aside from those two rides, it was mostly theming.
Yeah.
And eventually, Universal started to add another part in the other park, and it's connected by train.
Yeah.
And then they added another ride, and it keeps expanding. And it might be the same case for Galaxy Edge.
Yeah.
It's also one ride. It's mostly theming, and
you're exactly right.
Imagining life in a Star Wars universe. And they could also expand it throughout the next.
Yeah, you're exactly. I mean, the one thing everybody's looking for is to the Rise of the Resistance ride, and I haven't heard much about that. I think it was on Good Morning America here, which is a show here in the States. And they were kind of showing behind the scenes of what that's going to be like, and that's supposed to be like a 40-minute ride. I'm like, wait, what? 40 minutes? Jesus. I'm like, you'd have to go to the bathroom first and then go on. But everybody's like, oh, how was the Falcon ride? I'm like, it was cool. It was great. I mean, I loved it. The food was good. The milk wasn't milk. It was more like a slushy. The pricing was good, but these theme parks, man, are just, especially Disney in general. Disney's really taking the hit because they're overcharging for everything. It's like, more money. It's like, that's not how you drive attendance. That's not how you really make money. But somebody asked me about the same thing with Terminator. Do you think that was the problem when Terminator closed? I'm going to get back on subject. Was that the problem with Terminator? Because there were days where you guys weren't getting the counts. The building could hold 708 per show. We were hitting that on certain days. We were hitting that, some days in the mornings it was packed. Like first show was, a full 600, which is good. Our standards would be around 300. We started during mid-year, once we knew it was kind of slowing down, it'd be like 300. Okay, stick them in the middle of the road. Don't tell them to go all the way across. They don't need to. So we guess we'd get better experience where the fog was hitting. The LN2 was hitting them and stuff like that. Lasers were hitting properly and stuff like that, so they get a better experience. But somebody asked me, they said, every day, oh, are you guys closing? Are you guys closing? Are you guys closing? I'm like, I don't know, I don't know how you're hearing these.
Those closing rumors, they have lived on so many years. And I think when Terminator Salvation was released in theaters in 2009, it already prolonged the life of Terminator 2-3D, because back then there were already serious rumors of the show closing.
Yeah.
And then in 2015, there was a Terminator Genesis, and in November 2015, like you said, the show got upgraded with more Genesis content.
Yeah.
The pre-show got an update with better special effects, and even mentioning of the Genesis project.
Yeah, well, I can speak about that now.
Only lasted,
like I said, I walked into a meeting that morning, and I was told, now I can say it because it's no longer, it's null and void. But there were so many engineers and managers that are laser measuring everything, and they're like, oh, this is going to be this and this. And they looked at me, you go, you didn't hear a thing. I went, yes, sir. But now that it's closed, I can say, yeah, we were planning on doing Genesis. What happened with the Genesis thing is somebody from production, I think it was Warner Brothers or one of the production companies who made the movie. I might be totally off. Apparently they didn't cross the T's and dot the I's in the contract. They were like, whoa, we didn't give you guys the rights to use this, and Universal went, oops. We thought, no, we didn't say yes, so take that out. So they had to go through the whole entire pre-show and take the Genesis stuff out. They got to keep the music, and they got to keep them, because apparently that was all generic. I guess they made that. Some gentleman in tech services made the Cyberdyne logo in 3D that would spin.
Yeah.
Apparently that, I saw the original, they had inside when you walk through the queue, they had the video all set up, and then that looked really cool. I was like, oh, this is so cool. And the guy was like, you can watch it, but you can't take any videos. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I don't want to get fired.
But did they completely make a new video?
They completely made a whole new video. Yeah. They had it playing. They were testing out the audio, all this new audio. And that only lasted a day, because no guests have ever seen that. So apparently they were planning on it, and then it was taken out immediately. It was on a computer chip, and they took it right out. So it was like night and day. Genesis was only in the building for 2 days.
Because for most people, they know the show and visit frequently. You had the old Q show.
Yeah.
The very outdated promo video.
The CDYN.
Yeah, indeed. And then suddenly it went to just, like I call it, a boring rotating Cyberdyne logo.
I actually got busted for that on YouTube. Not the audio in the beginning of the building. I got busted from YouTube from using the audio because I kept quiet for a few minutes, and the algorithm from Google was like, "You can't use that." I'm like, "Well," I wrote them back fighting it. I'm like, "It's public domain. It's in a public building. Anybody can record this, Well, you can't use it." I'm like, "Well," but from there it went into this really weird sound. I think I got it on the audio, what it sounds like. It's very generic.
It's more like some kind of a heartbeat. I don't know how to call it. It's zooming, it's a humming sound.
Yeah, bum, 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 bum.
It has a more threatening tone.
Yeah, it's kind of like your bump.
I don't know.
But then they turned it into an expo, and it was a Cyberdyne Expo. What the hell is a Cyberdyne Expo? The one sign I don't know what happened to it was the Miles Bennett Dyson. Somebody else said, what the hell that? Somebody asked me about it. They go, where the hell did that sign go? I said, I don't know. I said, I can't even find it anywhere. We tried finding it.
Well, I think there are more signs that somehow went missing and nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
It happened when the show closed in Hollywood, and it must have happened too in Orlando.
Yeah.
It just seemed to happen. But going back to the subject of the 2015 update with Genesis, do you know if they had intentions, and if you can talk about it, just say so, but do you know if they had intentions to change the main show and include the cast of Terminator Genesis, Emilia Clarke and all those?
That was, that's a good one, because when I walked in on a meeting, and I don't know the whole entire meeting. I just walked into all these engineers and all these technicians talking about the stage being redone, the T-70s being redone, new projectors they were planning on putting in digital projectors in, which are super, super expensive. Because the one thing that we knew something was going on. We didn't know if they were going to elevate the show. I believe they were planning on making a new movie. They were planning on making kind of a new style show. Nothing was said about the actors being taken away or, like that. So I think they were planning on keeping the same stage, but just updating the main show into like the robots, stuff like that, the projectors. Because I don't really know if they were. I might be completely off on this. I wasn't really there for the whole meeting. Like I said, I walked in one morning and all these engineers were sitting there, and I was like, you clock in, you got to do your job. The company's paying you to do your job. So if you're not working, they're going to yell at you for not working. So here I walk in, the house lights are all on, which you can see the whole entire. Maurice got to see it all lit up, and you can see how dirty it was, with the lights, the lights on. You see all the, years of just dirt. We could clean it, but it's the problem with hours, cleaning. It still doesn't do it justice with how many guests coming in. But what they were planning on doing is they were planning on updating the projectors. They were going to update the sound system. They updated the lighting board, so they're updating all the lighting. And they were talking about updating the stage, but I don't know how far they were going to go with the stage. They were talking about doing some rugs. They were talking about doing the floor. And I think it all just came down to budget. Because all that stuff, like they said they had so much budget. They were planning on getting everything done. And then our boss came up to him and said, hey, we might be updating. You guys might be not out of work. What they do is, what Universal does, if they're going to plan on update, anybody who works for the venue, they get either taken. They can take vacation time if they have vacation time built up, or if you don't have vacation time built up, you go to another venue, and you stay there and you get to work, work your hours, and you go home and do your thing. So they were planning on doing some updates. I don't know, because they were measuring the robot pits, and I don't know what the hell they were doing with that, but that's as far.
You think they went to? Do you think they were about to change the T-17 robot?
Yeah, because they were measuring them. They were literally measuring all the poles and all the lighting. I think they were planning on updating all the new facade. Because they were talking about a lot of money. This guy was one of the engineers I was talking with, because he walked past me, and he goes, "What do you think?" He goes, "What do you think about having an update?" And I went, "We're updating?" And he goes, "Yeah." I went, "Oh, like." And then when I went to go to the pre-show area, which nobody's in there, you go in, and the technicians are testing everything, because you got to do a building test to make sure everything's functioning before guests come in, because if something's not right, you don't want somebody panicking and freaking out. And that's when I saw all the new, we already had new projectors put in, the DLP projectors, because the original monitors were about $1,700 a piece. I walked in one day, and these engineers were standing there, and they went, "Oh, these screens are just horrible, and we just can't keep using these screens. They're costing us too much money." And I kind of opened my mouth one year, and I said, y'all should go with projectors, because I ended up buying a projector for my house, my home theater. And they're like, "Yeah, that's what we're planning on doing, actually. We're planning on putting projectors back there. That's a good thought, Right now we're looking at a company, or, I think it was Optical, or Olympus, or one of the companies they were looking at to get a price. But I saw the new pre-show video, and once I heard Genesis, I started freaking, because the music sounded weird, too, because they updated all that. And then a day after, I got to walk into the queue, and I heard, I was in the early morning, and a technician was there, and he was having his laptop, and he was playing the new video for the queue. And then somebody goes, "Hey, you can't use that," or whatever. And so I don't know about the main show being updated. I do know that the robot pits were going to be redesigned. The projectors are going to be put in. And they're planning on doing some other things, but I don't know how much their budget entailed. Now, to say if they were going to update the main show video, I have no idea.
I don't know the inside information, and I can only speak for myself and from the rumors I have heard. And I really don't know if they were attempting to change the main show. It somehow sounds logical to me, but the thing I have heard, which was the reason that eventually this change did not completely go through, is, like you mentioned, for the pre-show video, they did not have the rights for Genesis and all the other stuff, so they had to remove that. But also, what I have heard, and I don't know if it's true, but in the pre-show video, they edited in some new footage to make it more nowadays with all the current tech stuff.
Yeah.
And they used they used images of footage from Getty's Images. and they did not have the rights to do that. So after that video, they had, and it was found out by Getty Images or anyone who contacted them, they had to pay for the license to be able to use that stock footage. So
Oh wow.
a lot of
That would make sense.
A lot of the budget that they still had left for making the changes in perhaps the main show video or the stage or whatever, that went to just for the actual licensing of the Getty Images material.
I don't know if
and after that's what I have heard. I don't know if it's true.
I don't really think that's actually the truth of it. There was one thing I'm going to really bring up for everybody, because during our few months, even before we were ready to update, they kept saying, hey, we bought new project. Like they said they bought a few new things, and they were like, oh, we're waiting on the new projectors, because we had one of the films, the film we had from Japan, because the main footage, Maurice was there, and I could actually point it out to him. I missed work by, I think, a few minutes. I was just coming in from my shift, and one of the actors was telling me, Ben, who was one of our cast A Terminator, looks exactly like Arnold, one of the nicest guys. Don't go looking for him, but he's a sweetheart guy. Was telling me, I was walking backstage grabbing some cup of coffee, and he goes, Ali, I went, what? He goes, were you here a few minutes ago? I said, no, I wasn't. He goes, have you ever seen Gremlins? I said, yeah. He goes, do you remember the movie scene? When they're in the theater and the film catches fire? I said, yeah. He goes, that just happened. I went, oh? Everybody was telling me about it. So apparently when the main film was going, it actually got super, super bright, and then it burned because the film was so old, or the projector was too hot. It just burned, and it just they had smoke coming out of the main projector screen, the main projector window, and they're like, whoa, we gotta stop it. Yeah. So everybody was saying it looked like the Gremlins for a few minutes, and they had to replace some of the film with Japan footage, the Japan reel that they had, because we weren't digital at the time. Don't ask me why, but this is one reason why I was hearing, even with the update. Oh, go ahead.
The Japan film is digital then?
I don't know if it's digital. I'm not sure, but I do know we got a lot of footage from Japan, even the main screen. I don't know what you purchased, but I was told a couple times from our AV team, because they went up there a lot to work on it. They were like, "Oh, that's not the original footage." I went, "What is it?" They go, "So why does it do that?" They go, "That's Japan. Like that's we had to cut it." And the guy stopped it, and he showed us. So we're sitting there during a test screening, and he goes, "That's Japan's footage right there." I went, "Oh." He goes, "Watch carefully." And I'm watching it, and it's switching ratios, and I'm like, "What the hell?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, after the little incident with the projector, we have to cut it down, and then it has to flip in. Yeah, I'm like, "Oh," and then they kind of were like, "Yeah, it happens." We had to, because we had, I think that the second reel that we had, that was from Hollywood, because they grabbed Hollywood's film, and Hollywood's film was kind of degraded anyway. So we had issues with that too. But then there was a big problem with our 3D, because we went with another 3D manufacturer for our glasses. And this is what I do. I do know, because I was getting called out daily and hourly for it. Hey, your 3D sucks. Hey, your 3D's out of sync. Hey, your 3D's out. I'm like, I got it. So we got a call from our head department who runs the park, and then we got to tell them. And they're like, okay, we're getting a lot of complaints about the Terminator's 3D messing up. One of our heads of our park operations people who are high up, he's second in command. He walks in, he watches it a couple times, and he looks at me, and I can't get his name out, unfortunately. But he walks in, he watches the show a couple times, and he goes, it's rubbish. It's just rubbish. It's garbage. He's like, we talked to AV. Yeah, we talked to AV. And I told him, so I was cleaning the theater, lights all turn on. He goes, we're not loading the next show. We're going to bring somebody else in and take a look. So they had AV, which is these head AV people that work on this during the night. They're watching if the lights off, lights on, and they go, oh, it's just, we're doing the best we can. So apparently, the 3D was going to cost us more money to fix than it was for the budget. And that was a big no way. We're not going to fix it. I don't know about the Getty.
I think also the film from Japan, it's not, I think, only the ratio aspect, it's the frame rate.
Yeah.
Japan has the same frame rate as Europe here. Yeah. We have 25 frames a second, and the United States of America uses 29
to 30, yeah. And
Yeah,
I was
around 30. So,
about 30. I think it was a 29.9 FPS per second. And we're talking,
so eventually it starts to mismatch the portions with, I think,
it was
3D
horrible. I mean,
with the
this is
performance.
before, yeah, this is before like we even were talking about closing down. Like we were testing on new vendors, we were testing on new glasses, and that's the glasses were about 19 cents a pair, about 20 cents a pair, and our bosses would come in and they're like watching the show during the morning and they're like, hey, the 3D is off again. Oh, it's the 3D could not stay in sync at all. The guests were complaining they were getting, I don't know, a few people got sick. One guy got up and he goes, I can't watch it. It's just so blurry. It's so out of sync. The only ones that were kind of in sync were the left and right screens, not the main. The main screen was horrible. I mean, even I was watching.
Yeah, and the main screen is just where the main movie happens.
Yeah, and
The
I was
3D,
watching it, and then our main manager came. He's head of park operations, second in command. He walks in. I go, "Are we talking about updating this at all?" And he goes, "Right now, to do the digital conversion is 1.5 million." I went, "Whoa!" He went, $1.5 million. Yes. I went, "Oh, that's not good." He goes, "No, it's not good. We're trying to get other quotes, but right now we're getting 1.5 million, not thousand, million." And I went, Jesus. I said, that's just for the conversion. I was like, wow.
It was really expensive.
Yeah,
I'm still trying to get my film reels into digital because in Europe we don't have a lot of 17mm projectors.
Yeah.
So I still have not been able to watch it. But even converting those two reels into 4K video is already something like $2,000.
Oh, no way, man. I would freak out.
Yeah, that's why I still have not converted it because it's just a shitload of money.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still thinking of work around for it. But and I also don't know if there's any audio on it. I cannot discover it on the film script.
I don't think there would be any audio. I think there would be a whole separate file.
Yeah, I think so. And from what I can see, it's only the two film reels are of the main screen portion. So I'm also missing the right and the left screen video.
Ah, okay.
That's also something to keep.
I have no idea where you got that film. I was like, how the hell did he get? I was like, he's good. he's
eBay.
Good.
It was eBay.
Okay.
Yeah, I still have for years I get daily, I think about 20 emails a day from just daily eBay results only for Terminator 2-3D in all the different kind of ways it can be written. T2-3D, Terminator Universal, Terminator 2-3D, all those kinds worldwide, Europe. So those things pop up every morning in my mailbox.
Oh wow. But yeah, I think the biggest factor, I've heard about the Getty images, but yeah, what I do know is the 3D, once they decided to try to update it, they were like, there was no way. I think when they said they were done, it was almost about $2 million, and they said there's no way they were doing it. And that was a big no-no. And I think that was the final kick in the coffin, nail in the coffin, because I remember once we knew it was coming, all these engineers were coming in with, one guy with his clipboard and his ponytail, and he looked just too relaxed. I'd met him before. He's a nice guy and everything. He's got to do what he's got to do. But he walked in. He goes, "Oh no worries. We're just sitting there watching the show." And they were taking notes on their notepads and their notebooks, and they go, "Yep."
Do you remember when it happened that?
I believe it was when. I believe when I can't remember his name, but once the.
Do you know a year? Is it like the same year so close?
It was about a few months. It was a year. Almost to the year. So it was we were just about
2016.
We were just about to be told. This is when the 3D started going to shit. Like really to shit. I don't know about, like I said, I don't think the Getty images were anything. It was the 3D because we were told, I went up to guest services one day. They're like, hey, you need to go over to you need to go pick up our glasses. I went, what do you mean? They go to Lost and Found is in front of the park. You got to go, they have a huge bag for you. So I walked behind the door, I hit a button. And they go, hey, so, you need to go in, type this number in, they're going to open a bag. So security had a bag for a huge trash bag, clear trash bag full of our glasses. We had over like 300 pairs of glasses. And I went, oh, geez, there's our glasses. So you have to count all those, to make sure, and they go back into stock and money and stuff like that. But some lady was telling me, they're like, yeah, you guys got like 70 complaints the other day for your 3D being out of sync. I went, oh, wow, that bad? She went, yeah, so they're not too happy about that. Somebody got sick. Someone said that the show was really unwatchable. They liked the live part of it, but they hated the 3D. Some people would just pick up their glasses and they would just sit. I'm telling you, Maurice, it was like like you're talking about 20 shows a day. It doesn't sound like a lot for most people. But people were coming up to us going, hey man, like your 3D sucks. Okay, cool. We'd have to go to our lead, and our lead would say, hey, here's a piece of paper, mark in the theater where they were sitting, ask them where they were sitting. Hey, excuse me, where were you sitting? I was sitting in the middle row. Okay, what row? I don't know, like by the robot, I think. So you'd mark that off and hand that back to the, things. Daily we would have over probably about 300 to 400 complaints. So I think that was finally the last nail in the coffin with them coming in saying, because
it could be like I said, I'm only hearing rumor because I am not. I don't work at Universal. I don't have the inside on that.
Oh no, information. Yeah, no, I don't blame you at all. I mean,
the only things I hear are my current fruits until Universal proves me different.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the 3D one I can highly verify because I was there and I got to notice a lot of it. But once we saw, I think it was a few months more in. Once it started getting worse and the managers started coming in, that's when we saw all the engineers coming back in and taking notes, watching us during the show loads. And they go, oh, no, you guys aren't in trouble or anything. We're here just to take notes. And they would just start taking notes. And once I realized, like, this is like 3 months before close, this kid was he worked for the engineering side of it, was walking backstage and he was taking measurements. And I was wondering who the hell was pushing my door open because I'm ready to load the next show, which is like in a few minutes. And I can't have all the doors up to me because people, guests are guests, and they're going to walk to places they don't need to be going to, Oh, sir, I need to leave, but I need the bathroom. That's not the bathroom. The bathroom's actually out this way. You go this way. And I said, hey, man, like, are you okay? And he goes, oh, I work here. I'm sorry to leave the door open. I'm taking laser measurements. Okay, cool. Like, so I asked him, I said, hey, man, like, what's going on? He goes, well, you seem like a cool dude. You're closing a fit, but I don't know. Honestly, dude, I don't know when. I'm just here to do my job. I went, okay, fair enough. I said, for real, we're closing? He said, yeah, they're planning on doing something. I don't know. You're closing. I don't know when. That's what he told me. So that one, it was like, oh shit, we're closing. But I was already planning on I was already planning on leaving the venue anyway. I was already planning on going to another department anyway. It didn't work out, unfortunately, and that's when I got told, a few days, a month later, and this is like a month later, we got told that the October 8th closing, and, shit just came so fast. Like, nobody was planning on it being this fast. I think they just couldn't.
No.
I think what it was is, like, we had budget. They had, what they do is every year each department gets money from the park. So it's like, okay, you get this much money, you get this much money, you get this much money. Let's get all these things done, And I think that's what it was. They had money, and they're like, okay, let's do it. And shit fell through, so they didn't know what the hell they were doing. Because they started demolition, and the building just sat there. It just sat there for months and months. Yeah. And, like, I remember you texting me, you're like, did anything happen yet? Have they started it? I was like, nope. And it was like about a half a year, nothing. The building, I walked through the building by myself. I walked through the door, I walked through, and nobody was there. It was quiet. I kind of felt sad. I felt sad. I was like...
It feels rushed and like they did not have a plan.
No, they didn't have a plan. And then, like, once they started with the props popping up, that was kind of the source of, okay, they're starting something. And then they stopped. Once they started doing the props, they stopped again. And they were told, I think somebody said, one of my technician friends was saying, hey, man, we got pulled over to Fast and Furious to finish it up because they're trying to button it up. And they were just like, oh, man, it's not good. Something's going on. Because Fast and Furious really, they were expecting a huge jump in attendance, but it really just kind of went. Once people found out what it was, even Fast and Furious got a rushed opening because it was so dull.
But that's why I'm wondering for the replacement show. Universal does not mention anything what it will be.
No, they haven't.
Except it will be a Universal property, intellectual property of them. Yeah. So if you watch how they promote the other new attractions and shows they will have, they promote it at least half a year before it will open. They will announced that we will have that show and it will be very cool and will open in the summer or whatever period. But at least they promoted, they do marketing for it, and they try to generate more attendance.
Yeah.
But for this replacement show, nothing has been announced.
It's been very,
Nothing.
it's been very coy, and it's been
so
very quiet.
Secret,
yeah, I don't know, and it's kind of the good things that I'm hearing so far, like my friends that are commissioning it, have been very positive. They said, "Oh my God, it's going to be something else," and I went, "That's good to hear." And when I was backstage not too long ago, a couple months ago, and an engineer was back there, and I kind of snuck over, and because you're allowed to walk over and go through the away, and I could see inside the building still, but then now it's all closed up. You really can't. Now they buttoned up most of the stuff, and there's things ready to go, and and I walked in, and I went. The guy goes, "You really want to know what it's going to be?" I said, "I do, but I don't want to get fired either, and I don't want to get you fired." And he goes, "Come here," and he showed me his tablet or his laptop that he had, and he showed me some stuff, which I'm still not allowed to say. But I was like, "Oh wow, like that's going to be something." And then just the other day, I got told, "Are you planning on going?" Everybody keeps asking me whenever I walk back over to the venue. They said, "Are you planning on going back over? Like, what's going to happen?" I said, "I don't know yet. Until Universal says otherwise, what we're doing, when they're ready to take submissions, whatever, I'll go." But I'm glad I'm here.
The main rumor everybody's shouting for those years is it's Born.
It's Born, yeah, and that's the one thing I can say too officially.
It's Born.
Yeah, and we're
don't say anything about it.
No, they don't. They don't give any. And the one thing we're all kind of pissed about, and everybody, because like once Fast and the Furious happened, we're just like, what the hell? Like, why would you go with something that's so outdated and something that guests aren't really going to know? Like, let's bring them up to speed to something. And we're kind of pissed about the name. We're like, we can't confirm or deny. None of us can. And like even before we even closed, like a week before, a lot of the actors were saying that. They're like, it's going to be Jason Bourne. We know it's going to be Jason Bourne.
That rumor must have come from
somewhere. Yeah,
somebody opened their
mouths.
Again, don't say anything about it.
Oh no! It's very Jason Bourne is so relevant.
But it's the rumor that is going.
That's the rumor. That's the major rumor.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks it's that. We don't even know if it's that because I was asked.
There were things on the forums like they would have a 360 degrees more
motion and
auditorium where you can sit on in a circular base and it would turn around. So
from what I've seen, I can't confirm or deny anything. I was shown quite a bit a few months ago, but I can't say much about what I can say, and I know I won't. But what I can say and what I'm very happy to hear from a lot of my friends that are working over there because they're very hushed. They're signed contracts, so they can't say much either. But they're like, it's something else. It's cool. I'm like, that's good to hear. I'm glad Universal's taking time to do something new because I don't want to walk into something and be like, oh, this is good for now, but how's it going to be down the road, But I'm very upset with them not getting me hyped for it. I really want to be excited for this, and
Yeah, but how can you be excited if nothing has
nothing's
been
there?
announced?
Yeah, and
you
it's
don't
like
know what to expect. What?
Yeah, and I'm sitting there with guests, and I'm like, they're like, what's it gonna be? Do you know? And I'm like, I really don't know. I really wish they would kind of give us a sneak peek and let us get you guys excited for it because they're not. They've been very coy about it, and the engineering side of it's been very blah. And I'm not really allowed to say much about it. They're like, have you seen anything? I'm like, I've seen a video, I've seen like some stuff, but I'm not allowed to say, But what I'm hearing is this, but I really don't know if it's this, and they're like, do you like that? I'm like, no, I really want to be excited for this, from what the building size looks like, it's like, holy shit, because it's huge. It's double the capacity.
Yeah, they have to expand the whole building.
Yeah, it's double capacity. I mean,
on both sides.
Both sides and the rear. The rear has been extended by about 20 to 40 feet. So it's huge. I'm like, whoa. Like, what are they planning,
That they removed the complete inside. If I what I could see in the photos and what I've heard.
Yeah.
They removed the passage between the pre-show and the main show is also gone, or?
The pre-show is still there. I actually was there, I want to say 6 months ago, and I haven't seen inside the building. I'm not really because they were like starting to demolition the inside. But at one point, I know from the original pre-show at Terminator, it started sinking a little bit in certain spots because the building was so old that the floor was starting to settle. So a lot of the times the doors wouldn't close properly because the building was settling, and our surveyors would come in and they would check stuff out and they go, "Yep, the floor's settling. It's just the building's just that old. It's been here since '96. The building's just settling.
Yeah.
They said they'd have to jack doors up, but yeah, the pre-show got worked on about 6 months ago, and now the building's pretty much buttoned up. It's closed up. You can't see inside of it. There's new lights on the outside. And there's new rain gutters and stuff like that. The back has been extended by, I want to say about 40 to 30 feet. The sides have been extended by 15 feet on each side. The one side's huge. It's got a huge thing on the side of it. I don't know what's in there. My friends won't say a damn thing. The engineers won't say a damn thing to me. So I've been trying to get things for myself, but a lot of like I said, the only engineer that was cool was he had his computer up and he showed me what it was going to kind of be, and I was like, oh wow, and he was like, isn't that something? I was like, that is something. And the thing is, it's just tell us what is good. That's what's tiring everybody out because everybody's so damn tired. They're like, I want to know. But it's one of these things that Universal is keeping so coy, and I don't know if it's for budgetary reason or it's just hey, we had an idea, but it's not going where we want it to go, and we want to make sure this is something new and epic for you guys because it's been so long. We fucked up on a ride. We don't want to fuck up. We don't want to fuck up again. I think it's.
I think the first reason is, at least of my feeling as an outsider, is that they didn't have a plan when they closed T2-3D
No, they didn't.
yet. So
no,
they did not mention anything, so they could go every way they wanted.
Yeah.
They could test the new concepts, and if it didn't work, they could drop it and try something else.
Yeah, from what I heard from my friends yesterday, and they said they've been testing a lot of new things, a lot of new technologies in there. I went, oh wow. They went, yeah, they're really. It's something. Like I said, they keep saying it's something else, and they said you're really going to enjoy it. And I said, I hope so. And that's all they've told me, and my friends have been whispering little things to me, are you coming back? I said, I don't know. They said, you're probably going to enjoy it. I went, oh, okay. As a show element wise, I think it's going to be great.
I myself don't hope it's Bourne. I have nothing against Bourne.
No,
like you said, Bourne, those are already old movies. They are.
Yeah,
they are great flicks, but they're not outstanding or.
No, they're not. And the original ones were, but those are from 1999 to 2000. Those are. Yeah. They're great movies. However, where does it capture somebody's imagination? The problem with Universal is they don't know how to leave IPs at different parks. Like Disney, same thing. They have to copy everything else and then bring it to the next park. It's like, no. Let me have to go visit, the next park in Hollywood, or let me have to go visit Singapore or something like that. Universal's problem is that they keep copying their IPs and bringing them into each park. You can't do that. Like Harry Potter's castle should be in Orlando. It shouldn't be over in Hollywood. You should make guests want to come to each different park to visit to get the whole Universal experience or Disney experience. And
it makes each park unique.
Yeah, and the thing is, Universal's just been copying itself for years now, and I think their guests are finally saying, you know what, fuck you guys, I can see this in Hollywood, I don't have to come to Orlando, or vice versa. And the only ride that I see that we've done differently is Hagrid's and Jimmy Fallon over in Orlando. It's like, those are the only two frickin' rides I've seen.
Those are unique for Orlando, that's true.
The only two, and I think the new show, what it may be, is going to be unique in its own self, because that, from what I'm hearing, and like I said, I don't know much, and I wish I knew more, and I want to know just as much as you guys know, because all my friends that work there, they're like, oh man, right now they're so bored. They're just bored because they're just sitting there because all they're doing is testing, because they're just testing new mechanisms or doors and stuff like that, and that's all they're testing. That's all commissioning is. You're just testing things, and you don't do anything. You just sit there and watch. Make sure nobody goes under things they shouldn't be doing or what have you. A certain contractor doesn't go in a certain area he doesn't belong. That's all you're doing with commissioning. But from what they've told me, it's unique. It's different. And one of my friends that have worked at Terminator 2, she goes, it's something else. I went, that's good. Like I said, that's great to hear. I can't wait to finally get to hear about it and see it in person. And what I've been told, it's going to be a very small team like Terminator. It's going to be very entertainment oriented. So a lot of the actors and performers are going to be coming back, but not as performers. They're going to be coming back as the technicians to run it, because All the actors apparently are going to be third party outside of Universal because of safety concerns, I guess. That's just the way the entertainment industry here works here in Orlando and in Hollywood. It's nothing.
Yeah, I think they've copied that way of working from Hollywood. From what I understood from Hollywood, shows like Waterworld and other stunt shows have actors from an outside company, a third party, in this. So exactly. They will copy that style.
That mindset.
More into Florida.
Yeah, Universal's more or less. They don't have to, Universal Orlando's not to worry about like paying them, or maybe if they get injured, they don't have to really worry about getting another actor in. That company will have to take care of. It's a lot of like red tape and stuff like that. Things I know and things you can figure out for yourself.
But I really hope with the new show, aside from the park, it will be a fresh new show and introducing some new stuff we have never seen before. I at least hope for a small reference to the old Terminator show. If you know Universal, they've done it with a lot of other shows. Like Simpson is referring to Back to the Future.
Yeah, Fast and the Furious has all like the little pop. They have like little pops hanging around like Beetlejuice and stuff like that. And
the mummy has to go.
The
mummy has the golden King Kong figure in the queue.
Yeah.
So I hope they can at least do some nice reference, some in joke way of referring.
Cybernetics, yeah. It's funny because people you start the building and you're like, it's still called T2. Everybody still to this day calls it the T2 building. Yeah,
but what should they call it? Call it right now then. Project XXX, like Universal.
I don't even know what they call it. Usually I'll give an insider thing, and most people will be like, "What?" Usually when they're doing a project, and this number always changes. It's either like a number. It's Project Blah, or it's Project 77, or or project like you said, Project X. Yeah, it changes like consistently. So if you're looking it up on Google or YouTube, you'll never know what the hell it really means, because they showed a girl that was like, she found out the new Hagrid ride was going to be, and like, she works for the Sentinel, or works for some company. She used to work in the theme parks, and she's so good about finding like all the stuff online and like all the permits, and it's like, they do that on purpose, right? It's public domain, but they don't call it what they call it. You'll never find out what they're working on. Even Disney has things you'll never find out what they're working on. So they gave her like props and said, "Oh my God, she's great." So I kind of tweeted at her. I said, "So if you're so good about finding out stuff about Universal and Disney, what's the Terminator building going to be? Can you tell me? Can you tell me? Can you tell me?" And she never did. She never wrote me back. So I was like, that shows how good you are, because you don't fucking know.
No.
So I kind of said, because the day that she found out what Hagrid's was going to be, Hagrid's got announced like that second, So I'm like, of course you found it, because it was already online. Universal has their own. They're not stupid.
No.
And they leak shit themselves. I can't say how I know this, but I know somebody who works in an area, but even they told me, they go, if you don't think we leak shit, either you're stupid or you're stupid.
Universal leak stuff themselves.
They leak stuff themselves
to misdirect the people.
To make you think that things are happening, So I learned that very carefully with them, is like, oh, you should really watch what you believe, because a lot of it ain't true, So
I guess we will find out hopefully in a few months
hopefully
from now.
Soon. Yeah, I'm really excited. Like I said, I was told a few weeks ago, you should be really excited because what we're seeing over there is really interesting. And I said, I'm excited to see it. I'm excited finally to know what the hell it is, because it's been so fucking long of just sitting and waiting, and like, can you just announce it? Like, get me excited to want to go there. Like, now I'm just like, I don't know. And they're like, you're gonna go back. I'm like, I don't know if I want to go put in for the commissioning, the team, to be on the opening team of it. But a week from now, then it will be already 2 years since the show was closed, and nothing new, and it's been so terrible. Like, even
Mark has been announced, so people are just not dying, but they're saying dying to find out.
They're just kind of like, what the hell? Like, what the hell? It's more like, why is this divorce kept secret?
Will it be that big of a new show with new high-tech stuff we've never seen before?
That's what they're saying. I mean, from what I've been told, because I said recently, people that are inside the building have said, they're like, it's going to be something. And I'm like, oh, and they're like, there's some cool technology in there. And I'm like, I cannot wait to see what the hell you guys have been talking about. which you've been held to secrecy about. I cannot wait to see it. Like, I'm excited because I'm near the building, so I'm told a few things, and I can't say, but they haven't really, yeah, well, they haven't revealed much to me either. They've been keeping it really coy too because they have to, and they're like, it's going to be something else, and I'm like, I cannot wait to see what the hell you've been keeping quiet about, but
I hope so, and somehow I hope the focus is not on 3D.
That's the thing. It's one thing I even brought up the other day. I said I hope the new venue is not 3D at all. I don't want to see anything mentioned.
Yeah.
I said I'm so.
It can have 3D, but it should not have the upper hand. It should not be the main focus.
No,
of
and
the show
I think a lot of guests.
The last Universal Studios shows are mainly
3D, and yeah, I get that a lot. Working at Jimmy Fallon, and people are like, "Dude, what the hell? Why is there another fucking 3D? I cannot." Some people can't do 3D. They can't do motion, and they're like,
Fallon but if you look at the last shows, it's Jimmy Fallon, it's Fast and Furious, it's Kingston. They all have 3D video in it.
Yeah,
the main part.
Fast and Furious was designed to be 3D. If you guys watch Fast and Furious video, it's designed to be in 3D, and it looks like shit. It looks like a PS2 game, PlayStation 2 game. But yeah, just horrible. I'm so hoping they take their focus around. It looks like, and this is my speculation, it looks like they're focusing more on a live show. Live elements, maybe some video, but no 3D. And I'm like, oh, thank God, no more 3D. Well, I want to see a live show.
It's okay to have 3D, but do not let it be the main focus of the show. Well, let it be a tool to help the show work, but not as
be the crutch.
That is the show.
Yeah, be the crutch of it and hold the show together. Terminator was good for its time, and the one thing most people, then they look at it, they're like, holy shit, I didn't realize there were real people in the show. We were expecting like a 3D show. And then they walk out and they're like, that was fucking outstanding. Like, we weren't expecting a guy to come out and run with a 3D. We weren't expecting the gun to go off or this to interact with this. And, Terminator was ahead of its time with James Cameron. And that's the thing that made it unique.
For that area, for time frame, it was unique. It had, indeed, one of the first combinations of live acting and 3D in a show, and not many shows at that time did have that combination. I'm trying to, I don't know by heart. I think the Muppet 3D Vision is also a similar show with 3D and some live acting. I don't know which one.
It does, yeah. We just saw it.
The Muppet one came first, I think. So those were one of the first. I think the Muppet was from 1991.
I think it was Captain Nemo. With Michael Jackson, maybe?
Captain EO from Disney. Yeah. But that did not have acting together blended with.
You're correct. Yeah, you're right on that one.
Captain EO is just a standalone 3D movie, and Muppets Vision 3D is also a 3D movie. And then suddenly those figures and dolls that came out on the balcony.
Yeah, they come out and there's a guy in a suit walking, and that was weird. I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, I think that one was first, and then T2-3D took it a step further by going into the screen, through the screen, actors jumping in and out.
Even to this day, we talk about it at work, and people are like, I had no idea that bike was actually real. One of our coworkers the other day goes, I had no idea they went through the screen. Like, I thought they, and the guy was like, one kid was dead serious. He goes, I've seen the show a couple times. I had no idea. I'm like, oh, you knew. He's like, no, I really didn't know. Like, what you guys are telling me, I had no idea that's how the show worked. Like, I was just that involved into it. Like, you get into it and you put your glasses on when they tell you to put them on, and they don't expect the robots to move. They don't expect the targets to do what they're doing. And they didn't expect that.
Yeah, but it's also hidden very well. You don't expect robots to come out of those boxes.
No.
You think it's just some decoration. You don't expect the Kimberly booth to drop down and disappear underneath the show.
Yeah, somebody asked me,
on the stage,
they're like, where the hell did she go? And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, oh, she goes, so we had to stop, like, after the show was over, some guest literally stopped me, and her kid was probably 8 or 9 years old, and she goes, I got a question. And, us being us, we're like, all right, we'll ask, we'll wonder what it is. She goes, how does that happen? And so we literally, had to show her, we're like, watch the platform come back
the whole show, and that's a compliment to the show and the creators and everything, the whole show is timed so perfectly. Like every distraction, every sound is just a distraction to do something else. when the room goes dark, you see the robots and the stage of Kimberly disappear. And when Sarah just fires her gun or shouts something, it's just a line of dialogue. It's even just to mask that the screen just suddenly goes up, to mask that sound effect of the screen, because the screen makes a lot of noise when it goes up and down. It's just those things are perfectly timed to mask other things, and it's just so it's very well made. If you take a very detailed look into it, you discover more and more things that just add to the how to say it, the goodness, the perfection of the show and how things are
it took a long time for them to do it too. If you watch behind the scenes of like what they had to do in the ADR, and then I remember like the other guy, he's like, oh, I did the ADR for Arnold. And I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense, but you wouldn't even know if you did the ADR because Arnold was out of.
Arnold did not record all the lines in the movie.
Apparently, no. One of the podcasts that you had me listen to, Terminator 101. Apparently, apparently they had to be ADR, and apparently one of the original guys had to like they brought him in, and he ADR'd. I'm like, I didn't even know that. I was like, oh wow, I didn't even know that. And somebody was like, yeah, like
I remember it now vaguely.
Yeah, he was like, I had to do the ADR. You wouldn't even notice the difference. I'm like, and ADR guys is just like record after. So like if I had to like the podcast, I got to edit out some noise that you're hearing. I hear in my ear. And you wouldn't hear, you wouldn't even notice because it's just so quick. And it's
so supple and quick.
Yeah, he did his impression, and he was like, boom, it sounds like Arnold. You wouldn't even know. Like, I can't yell like Arnold, but this is what it needs to sound like. Boom, I can do it. And then they would just edit it in post, Because I listened to the original work print, and the original work print sounds like shit.
And the original work print is missing some audio in it.
Audio, it's missing a lot.
There are some lines when the characters are turned with their back to the screen, and then they're suddenly in the final movie they're shouting some thing, while in the movie on the work print it was not present.
Yeah,
that's some offline additional sound of the audio dialogue.
Yeah, it's like just so crazy. Like we noticed, and then like I remember one of our leads, she was like laughing. Yep. She goes, "Oh, did you notice the Terminator penis?" I went, "Terminator penis." She's like, yeah, it's a joke. She goes, "Watch the head go flying in the air and watch the robot fall down. And there's a piece of flame, and the flame like wiggles back and forth like a dick." And we're like, "Oh my god!" And once I saw it, I couldn't stop. I couldn't unsee it.
It's in the movie, show.
Yeah, it's a funny. So when he says, "Hey, Buckethead," and he finally throws it, and the head comes up. So the head's coming up. If you look just at the body, and the body falls back down, there's a flame or spark or something like that, and it's like it looks like it's wiggling like back and forth because it's 3D, and it looks like a dick. She's like, she took it as a dick, and we couldn't unsee it. After we saw it, we couldn't unsee it. And then Alan,
I have to look into that.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah.
And then Alan said to me one day, "Oh, have you seen the dick?" And I showed the text, and the text all started laughing, and they're like, "I hate you now because now that's all I can see is a dick, visualizing a dick and flapping back and forth." So Alan goes, "Have you noticed the head?" And I went, "No." He goes, "Watch the head when he picks it up. The head comes off, it spins in the air, and it comes out in 3D, and then it comes back down." Now Arnold's holding it, and now it's it's got wires, and I went, "Oh shit, yeah, you're right."
Yeah.
So there were stupid things that were like, "Oh, we caught," and then we looked at it, we're like, "Oh, that's kind of stupid."
If you also take a look at the work print, then you notice there is an extra aerial hunter killer flying by just when Arnold and John, or Terminator and John, are looking out of the parking garage to the Skynet building.
Oh wow!
Like there's an extra additional hunter killer they removed from the final version. Yeah, and you can also see the T-1000 standing up after being shot. It's removed from the final print, but the work print still has the scene.
Oh, I gotta watch the original work print. It's been so damn long since I've watched it, but yeah, it's just a damn show that was so damn good.
I know. I have a funny story about a dick as well, if you're interested.
Oh, go for it.
I will not take credit for it. It was discovered by a friend of mine, Chris Kuhner.
Okay.
He got his hands on an original prototype of the Mini Hunter, the flying hunter killer, the small objects that are chasing John and Terminator through the parking garage, which Arnold smashes stop whining.
Yeah.
As most people know the final design, but he got his hands on a prototype version of the Mini Hunter killer, and it looks very similar to the final product, except for those bulbs at the side, those little jets.
Yeah.
And the final product version, they are turned upwards, but in the prototype version, they were pointing downwards. And the barrel of the Mini Hunter was slightly different, with a different head. And the person in charge of making those during filming, Darren Guilford, he brought them on the set, and James Cameron saw them, and his first reaction was, that looked like a dick with balls. Because the sides that were turning downwards, the barrel just looked like a penis, and so he had to return and created a final version very quickly. He put the side jets were more in front against the barrel, put them more to the center of the body and turned them upwards. And he removed a little part of the barrel so that it does not look like a dick anymore.
Oh wow!
But you can see if you look at the making of video, you can still see at least the barrel, not the side jet, but the original penis-like barrel. You can see it in the making of video when they are in the crate when they're picked up out of it. I will show you a picture of it.
Oh my god, that's great! Oh god, that's a great.
And the great thing is, I have a kit, a casting of the final Mini Hunter killer, and they also got a casting of the prototype parts. So my plan is now to build two Mini Hunters, the final one and the prototype version with the barrel.
Oh wow! It's like I'm gonna.
I will show you the. Sorry.
Like I'm gonna have a penis one and not a penis one. Can you
yeah,
tell the difference?
I have both. I can tell the difference. I will show you a picture of it soon. But,
I'm saying for somebody else who walks in, they're like, "Can you tell the difference? Which one had a penis and which one not?" And you're like, I'm not very good." Like, look.
Well, I will show you, and then you can decide for yourself.
Okay.
It's very obvious.
Oh, that's great. That's a great. I'm glad that James Cameron being who
to
James
keep
Cameron
it in line
is.
with the dick stories.
Oh yeah, well James Cameron would obviously say that when because he's a perfectionist and he would be like that looks like a dick.
Perfectionist are very direct. Yeah.
Oh, it's like he's very on point. He's just like that looks like a dick. It's like James. It's like true.
Well, like I said, my friend Chris, he turned up with the prototype, and I started to investigate it any further, and I eventually contacted one of the creators of the show, Adam Bizarre, and he told me we had discovered one of the untold secrets of the making of Terminator 2-3D, and he told me that story about the dick version and James Cameron's reaction.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. I would have never known that story. Oh, that's beautiful.
But I will show you some pictures of it soon.
Oh, that's awesome. So what is your goal since, T2's now closed, we don't really know what it's going to be, and you finally got some of the parts for the robot? Like, what is your goal to, finally get one together? Are you still on the hunt for new things, or?
I'm always in the hunt for new things. I can't say I'm currently busy with someone who worked on production of this movie, and he has some Skynet parts of Skynet Europe.
Oh wow!
He's still searching for other parts, but he might sell one or perhaps two to me. I must say I already found one of my grails, the full robot, but I still have two. I will always hunt for stuff. I'm still chasing an original Kimberly name tag from Hollywood. I would love to have one of those. But for my
thank you for the Japan one, by the way. I really appreciate the logo.
Sorry,
you gave me a pin of Kimberly's.
Oh yeah, That's one of the pins, but I would like to have the name tag from the Hollywood show because they're very distinctive. But for my Terminator 2-3D grills, I still have a few. Skynet, something from Skynet, so that's what I hope to be able to buy at least a part, so I can say I own a part of Skynet.
Yeah.
And the other one is a very rare, I don't know the word. The story is when the show was made, a group of elite people who worked in the show got from Gary Goddard from Landmark Entertainment got a T-Mac, a T-Million spider statue. And I've seen images of it, and it's incredible rare. But it's one of it's not the only T-Mac statue that has been out there. And I really hope to be able to get myself one someday. That's one of my grails. I don't think I will ever find one. But like I said, with the robot, never give up hope.
In the our office, we had I don't know how the hell we got it. I think it was like we were going through I think there was an old closet that we used to hold a lot of promotional stuff that Universal would make for the venue, saying like, come here to see like the future or something like that. And I remember one day they were doing some cleaning and we had to go through like one of the things, and one of our head managers was like, you need to go through here and clean this out. And they found a T1 million, but it was like the hell wasn't it? Not cardboard, but it was like actual like wood cutout, like a really wood cutout, really high definition of it. And
yeah,
it was amazing. I was like, where the hell did we get that? And they're like, oh, we found that. I'm like, that looks old. And they're like, yeah, it's probably promotional from way back in the day. We had Arnold's, Arnold ones and other ones, and I was like, this is crazy.
I have seen the one from Arnold. I think if you're referring to that on the cardboard, it looks very nice. It's the one he's completely standing while holding up the endoskeleton head.
Yeah,
that's the one I've seen.
This one was kind of like a wood cutout one.
Oh, wooden, okay. And for other grills, yeah, that's for charge, and the display window would be nice, but I think those will be very expensive if they will ever be released in the pop store or something. And I would really hope to, that's the last one on my list, to get either one, a T70 poster. If you perhaps know the Hollywood or Japan show, they have different key posters, like Florida has like 13 or something, more generic Cyberdyne posters. The other venues that have a specific Cyberdyne products posters about Skynet and a T70 and the liquid metal and all those kind of stuff. And I would really love to score at least the one for the T70 poster from the Q, or the T70 poster that was in the Terminator 2 radio studio. We had more like a blueprint of the T70 design hanging there. It was awesome, and it would really complete the T70 robot I have here. So when I will assemble that robot one day in
future, yeah, because I remember you saying during the video, you're like, my house is wait until I get a bigger home. I can't even assemble it or can't even start.
I cannot put it up right now because it's so tall. But when I will hope ever to get a larger house,
yeah,
and I can assemble that robot, and it would be nice to have a accommodating 70 poster with it. So that's why I'm hoping for or the Q T70 poster from Hollywood,
yeah,
or the T70 blueprint poster from the T2 radio studio. But since both the show in Hollywood as the radio studio has been closed, I feel that one will never be fulfilled for me.
Well, it's but like why do you think we would find that the invitation that we found here in Orlando?
Yeah.
That one was.
I would have never expected that one to get.
That one was like hidden for me. Oliver let me know. He goes, "Would he want this?" And I go, "Where the hell did you find that?" And he
Yeah, I
goes,
think it was like we discussed before. I think it came from another auction
auction house,
or
yeah, because I was like,
pawn
not
store or
Christie's,
something like.
yeah, some,
Someone must have sold it to them, and they sold it to Universal to resell it in the prop store, something
yeah.
like that. I think. But I hope something might turn up on eBay or someone might have it and might be willing to sell it if I stumble on it.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be interesting when you finally, I don't think you'll ever be done collecting. I don't think you'll always find pieces and parts of things, and right
And
now
that's the thing
it's just budget.
with grills. Every time you complete your grill, you find a grill, you will automatically create a new grill for yourself. You will keep on hunting for things. That's the addictive part of the whole collecting.
Yeah, I think with me it's just the budget and the like somebody's like, what do you have? What do you have? And I'm like, I have a shirt. I have my thing, and it's just even getting the clothing that was a rough one, and I even had to make an offer on my clothing and keep it. And the one thing we were allowed to keep was our badge and a hat, and that was pretty much about it. The shirt, I made a deal with somebody. I was like, you're gonna burn it anyway, and then the next day they burned all the shirts, and I'm like, why? Why would you do that? So
They burned the shirts.
they
Why
burned
didn't
them.
they sell
Yeah,
them?
I asked one of our head of our wardrobe department. I said, are we able to keep? Because right now you guys are able to keep a hat and you're able to keep your badge. That's it. That's all you can have. And we're like, So I won't say how some of us got our shirts, but some of us have our shirts and they're not getting sold or taken. Mine's actually going to be put inside its own little frame because it was my last day shirt, and
Mm-hmm.
and I said I'm not selling it. It's my own. And it's like I even begged them to sell it to me. I said, how much do you want for it? And they wouldn't say, and they wouldn't say. And I said, you know what? It is what it is. And so mine's going to be going inside its own little case. And because it was my last day shirt, second to last day, I wore it. And I wore it for 10
Yeah.
years. And I was like, this is like my home, my family, So
You should not sell it. It has emotional value for you.
oh, very much so. Yeah, I mean, it's one of the newer shirts too. It's one of the it kind of has an older vibe to it. And I was like, I know you were on search for one, and I hit up a few people that I know that would have, from way back in the day, and said, anybody have a shirt or any kind of old style shirt? And somebody said they had something in storage from way back from the Hollywood days. And I said, oh wow. So they said, yeah, let me take a look, and they said they couldn't find it. So I was like, oh darn.
Well, I'm always open to for new items from the show, and I will always decide whether or not it's interesting for me to buy it or not. And with the P70 robot, which has cost me quite a lot, I'm selling also part of my other Terminator collection of some busts and some Hot Toys figures and everything, just to fund that big robot, because it's not.
Yeah, it's also your wife too, and the kid. I don't know how the kids are going to take it with the wife too. It's like,
Yeah.
I love your obsession, but you gotta make room.
Yeah, I know, man. It's you have your hobby and you indeed have your life with my wife and kids, so you have to make compromises. And sometimes when you buy stuff, you have to sell other stuff to keep it funding.
Yeah. So I'm just glad you found everything. I wasn't even expecting you to find the robot. I know you were in discussions with some vendor about finding something, and unfortunately, like I said,
and initially I only bought because I bought it from Paul, who also bought the two full robots from Universal Studios. He also bought a lot of spare parts, and I was only in talk with him about a food part, because I missed out on the food when the two feet were available.
Well, the feed also at the prop store, we had maybe one of them, but I should have seen you go, I don't want that. That shows nothing of Terminator. That has no value to me. I said, okay. I said, you want
yeah,
something.
But we missed out on the food then. They were not available back then anymore, those two. So I was talk with the guy about a food. So I managed to buy food, and then eventually he also had a almost complete robot for sale. It's like perhaps 80 till 85% complete.
Yeah.
It's missing a few parts. And I had expected him to ask 10,000 or something for it, but when I heard
they were. Once I asked one of the technicians when he's putting it together, I said, "How much do those cost?" And he goes, "Those are about he said like they were up there. I think he said probably about 20,000 a piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I talked to the guy about when I heard the price for those, I was starting thinking I bought a suit for that kind of money. But if I add more, I can. And the more, I mean, not too much, but just what a reasonable amount of money, and I can have a whole robot. Why not do that?
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's the thing with a lot of these
I,
vendors and people you find. You're like, it means more to you than it does them. And it's like they need money, but at the same time, you're like, listen, this isn't getting sold. This is for me as like my own collection thing, But they're not really attached. They're attached to the value of it, what it means to them, They're like, well, I can make 10,000 on a foot. It's like no, that's not what it's worth to me at all. You can sit on that for the next 5 years. I don't care.
yeah, but I must say Paul was very reasonable with his prices. As I mentioned, he bought two robots, one for two full robots, one for himself and one for his partner in the company. And then he had a lot of spare parts left, and with the spare parts he could build at least 85% of a full robot.
Yeah.
So that became one set, and all the other parts were sold separately.
That's cool. At least you found a decent vendor, a decent dude who was really willing to be like, listen, I know you love it as much as I do. Here's some parts,
I have to say he was cheaper than the prices Universal asked for the parts in the prop store.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful. I mean, that's Universal though. Universal has to make their cut. The prop shop wasn't really meant to be what it was. I mean, I'm surprised it is what it is now. That was originally the magic shop.
It's a huge hit. It's a huge hit among
people they would walk
fans
up
of Universal Studios.
And they'd be like, why can't I buy something from the park? Like, they wanted something from the park. And I'm like, oh, you want something, some of the props? They're like, yeah. Like, some lady looked at the window. She goes, why can't I buy that? I said, that's not really meant for sale. That's for set decoration. She goes,
and I also don't blame Universal for asking those prices, because everyone else would do the same. You would always start with a high price and see if people will buy it.
Work your way down.
And if not, you work your way down until somebody finally buys it.
I mean, some of the times, man, some of those props are built in house, and somebody was looking at me and they're like, why so much? I'm like, that's built in house. You know how much that costs to make? And they went, I can make it at home. Go ahead, go make it at home. See how much it cost you. And then they go, It's like they don't understand the value of a maker. A maker, like I do 3D printing, and people know what I do, and it's like I got a commission the other day, and I told the guy the price, and he goes, that's a bit too high. Can we go lower? I said, I can't. I said, dude, I'm already as low as I can go. I need to make money.
Mm-hmm.
I need to make profit and then, it's going to take me longer to build it than it is, for you to do it correctly. And you're already being charged, little to next to nothing, And,
indeed. And like you said, you will always try to get as much money out of it at first as possible. Mm-hmm. And if not, you will drop the price a month later and then see if someone buys it. And eventually, in the end, there will be someone who will buy it.
I mean, I'm still sad. Like a lot of Eric's stuff that he bought, and like I said previously early in the podcast, a lot of the actors were very, very livid that he wasn't willing to sell to them, even help them out. Once somebody who knows him was like, "Hey, why weren't you able to?" Because they wanted just a piece of Terminator, just for their memento. They offered him something, and he said no, and they went, what the fuck do you mean? No, I'm an actor. I'm the guy who performed in the show. Why aren't you helping me? They felt really offended. They were very pissed, and I was like, I don't blame you. Because then somebody turned to me, they go, can I ask you something? What did you guys get? Did you get anything? I said, yeah, I did. I got an S. I think about laser cut, literally having a laser cut in half, a couple pieces, and they're giving it as a keychain or a key necklace memento. Because I don't really need the S. It's from the building, so I'm like, what am I gonna do with this? And I looked at it and I said, Dakota bought one for me for about $25, and he's got it on his wall because he's like, I thought it was cheesy, but when you bought something from the building, it's kind of cute because it's kind of something we worked there. It was our home,
But at least you have something. Remember when you're working there, a souvenir.
I have a stupid sign that I look at it every day. I go, I pass that sign every day when I was loading. And
I love the sign there.
Yeah, I know. And you were like, I was like, he still hates me for it, guys. I wasn't trying to be an asshole, but yeah, I bought it, and then
Oh no!
But I had to
I
have
will
some,
not.
and then he was like, we really found some really good shit there, and the sign that he has that I'm kind of like, oh my god, I want it, and I should have got that one instead, but was the authorized personnel, which was on the doors. We literally said authorized personnel, and Maurice got one of those. I was like, I was kind of jealous. I'm like, I kind of already blew my budget, but my sign that I ended up getting was it's in the podcast. You'll see me actually pass it. That originally was $400, and I was told the next day, I was like, listen, that sign you bought for like 150? Yeah, that wasn't 150. I'm like, oh?
You had it for a very good price.
And they're like, you got it for a good price, you better hang on to it. I'm like, I'm not selling that stupid sign. It's going to stay on my wall. They're like, oh, you're going to keep it? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to keep it. I'm not selling that. I was like, that's going on my own little prop memento.
Yeah, you should keep it.
Oh, I'm totally going to keep it. It's, it's right now it's sitting on the floor against the wall, and I got to get it up here somehow in the room, but the shirt and stuff like that. It sucks when you get people like who love the stuff, but they don't understand like the value of it to you. And it's oh, let me buy it and put it on eBay for $3,000. It's like no one's gonna buy it for that. You know that. I felt bad for the lady that she went out. I think she paid for that extra sign, and I felt bad.
She bought the sign for I think $750.
Why would she do that? And I was just like,
but you have to imagine. Those are the things on eBay. That's the only stuff that is out there available for everyone to buy.
Mm-hmm.
And it is indeed expensive, because we know the original prices. Then it's even more expensive in our feelings. But people still want a part of the show. If it had not been for you and Oliver and all the help you did for getting me those parts, I would probably have ended up also buying from him on eBay. Because he's the only guy who has the stuff.
Which was sad because, like I said, I rushed out there and I'm thinking, okay, the next day I'll head over. I'll go over the next day and nobody will jump on these parts. Nobody knows what the hell they are. No one has that kind of money, And not knowing what your budget was, and I said, all right, I gotta get. I'm waking up and it's like, Ali, can you please go? I'm like, I'm on my way now. And like, I only lived about 1.5 miles from work anyway, so I could just jog over. And I got my music going. I'm running over, and I'm thinking, okay, I can take my time. Don't run too much. Don't like blow out your damn heart rate. I get over there, and like Oliver pops in. I go, where is it? And he goes, it's all over here. And he just had boxes of just stuff, stuff, the signage, and there was stuff that we had on the wall, and the posters, those $400 posters. And I'm looking through everything. I'm like, where the hell did all the? And he goes, Eric just came in and he bought like everything. I mean, the guy has money on credit cards, so I'm guessing, apparently he has money.
It's an easy win for Universal.
Yeah, it's an easy win for them, and it's like Oliver was like, well, I have this and this, and I'm like, cool, that stuff's cool. Now I gotta find out what he wants, and it was kind of like we had letters, we had signage, we had this, and then Oliver's like, let me take you to the back, and he took me to stuff that wasn't even out yet. But they didn't even, Universal didn't know what they had, because they weren't even putting price tags on it. I didn't even get a price tag for some things. It was like, and like I said, the one that was against the wall, like the sign that I got was against the wall, it was hidden, and I was like, how much for the sign here? Just curious. And Oliver just got bumped for lunch, and the guy talked to me. He goes, hey, he calls up the manager, and the manager goes, what sign do you want? He goes, it's like the Cyberdyne sign, laser testing, and da-da-da. Mm-hmm. And he goes, Ali, 150. I went, 150? I thought to myself, I got a little bit of money, why not, And I was like, all right, I'll take that for 150 because I was like, that's a little high, but that's 150, whatever. Just grab it for yourself, dude. So I did.
It was cheap compared to the other sign.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the signage, and I'm like, that's kind of cheaper, 150. And then the next day I come in, and your sign wasn't what it was. It was, your sign was double what it was supposed to be, and I'm like, I go, what even happened? Oliver goes, the signage you guys bought yesterday, it wasn't. The chess piece was marked as correct. Everything else was not. We really made out with what we got. And Oliver and the manager, I talked to the manager the next day. He goes, did you buy some things? I said, I did. He goes, congratulations. I'm happy you got something. He wasn't pissed off or anything. He was like, no, man. He was like, I'm glad it's going to a good home. I'm glad it's going to you who work there.
Perhaps it was the minimum price Universal wanted for the parts.
Yeah. I mean, I have
no idea. We don't know.
I have no idea.
We should have bought more.
Yeah, we should have, but we really didn't know what the hell was going on. I mean, I didn't know what your budget was, and your time frame was different. And
well, yeah, my time frame was different, and my budget kept on growing that day.
Your heart rate was pounding. You're like, I'm shaking here. I don't know what to do. Like, send me more photos. I'm like, I'm sending photos as I'm getting photos. I'm going through. I'm on my hands and knees checking through a box, and I got my crutches over here, and I'm holding this stupid.
I remember. I remember, sending the photos, and I was typing as a madman, just messing you. And
Yeah,
then
and you were like,
said, oh shit, you need money from me. Here's PayPal. You already some money.
like,
And then, you already also have that one. Oh shit, more.
So by the time I was done, I was like, I think it was midday, and I called my girlfriend. She goes, "Are you okay?" I said, "I'm grabbing lunch. Maurice isn't happy with me right now because I asked for a few extra bucks for lunch. I'm tired." She goes, "Do you have everything?" I said, "I have everything." Question: I need you to come with me tomorrow to pick it all up. So we grabbed our grocery cart that we had in our apartment, and I grabbed it. And I think we stuck everything in that. We brought it out to our security gate through Universal. We brought it to the back way because you don't want to go to the front way. We're like, "Oh shit, how do we get it out of here?" Okay, we can take it out to the front gates, or we can go to the security gate. Let's go to the security gate where no one's going to stop us. So I have all the receipts. I have everything, verification from Universal that we bought it. That was fun. So we're walking out, and the guy was like, "Oh, you guys are already done for the day?" We're like, "No, we're just here to pick up some props, And the security cameras are watching us, and we're like, he goes, "Listen, I'm just gonna assume that everything's in order because everything was already wrapped up nicely." He goes, "I see all the sign and correct taggages are there." He goes, "Let me just see the receipts. You guys are good. Have a great rest of your morning, And I'm walking out. I'm just like, "Oh my effing god, what did we just buy?" We should have, but yeah, we didn't. We really didn't know what the hell was there, and the boxes were. I sent so much over to you that I was like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" They're like, "It doesn't scream Terminator. It doesn't scream Terminator." I'm like, "I know it doesn't scream Terminator. You want it to say Cyberdynamic?" Because I checked with all the stuff, and a lot of it was overpriced.
Most things that day scream Terminator. They were directly from the show or the robots or the signage. But the other parts, you once sent me the photo of the film projector or the head of the film projector or something.
Something, yeah. There was just what the hell was it? There was
that didn't scream Terminator.
No, there was a few things.
Could have been a generic projector or something.
Yeah, there was a few things like the triangle. Each part of the triangle was expensive. They wanted each piece. And I believe that was $75 a piece for the triangle. I'm like, Jesus, no, I'm not. No. I'm like, how much for the triangle? Like the separate triangle? Oh, that's $75 a piece. I went, $75 a piece? No way, man. I sent that over to you. You go, no, I don't want that. That's not screaming Terminator. You wanted to say Cyberdyne, and
I had to be very selective at that moment. My budget kept growing that day.
Oh my god, yeah. I was like, Maurice, we're already at $700. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay,
and more. Yeah, I know it. And looking back.
And I remember, I kept telling him, guys, I said, remember shipping. He goes, you're right, shipping. God damn it, shipping. Once I said it was in, I had it all signed and everything. He was like, everything's safe. Everything's back behind the set. It's all safe. And I said, I'll come back tomorrow and pick it up.
Let me tell you something. After shipping a full size robot in 9 boxes, I'm not quickly stressed anymore for shipping costs at the moment.
Oh my lord! I can imagine.
Import duty.
I can't imagine how much. Did it come in crates or did it come in just boxes?
Boxes. It were 9 boxes, 9 separate boxes. So each box had their own shipping cost and had got their own import duty amount.
Oh god! Yeah, that was something else.
Yeah, it did cost me some money, but I'm very happy with it.
Well, I'm glad you got something that you've always wanted, because that was a huge dream for you to I want this. I'm looking for this, and I know the one thing you're still looking for is the Kimberly surviving, and I keep asking a few friends if they have it. One person said they did, but they don't know where the hell they put it. It's been so many years ago, and I dare not ask him again because I've asked him too damn much for it, and he's like, I got a life. I said, okay, all right, you do you.
I did find footage myself, but it's not very. I found it a few months ago. It's not very clear because the show is very dark. So
yeah.
I don't see Kimberly running away. I just see the T1000 immediately starting to type and not listening to Kimberly. So I found a video, but it's not good enough to show her actually surviving.
Yeah,
so if anyone still has footage, it's always welcome.
Yeah, please, if you guys have footage or anybody, I know we everybody here works for T2. We're we apologize for that. We're well, we had to do our job. That was our stop the cameras because it was so annoying. We'd get so many flashes and we're turn the camera off, please. It's so annoying because all you see is a light. You see somebody filming. It's guys, it's gonna look like shit. Just turn it off.
I don't blame you. You all did your job very
Yeah,
well.
I was talking to somebody and they're like, man, we were too damn good at stopping those fucking cameras. A lot of us felt bad,
Yeah.
we're like, ah, damn, Maurice wants this kind of footage. But like the best way to describe what Kimberly would do, there was three different variations of how she would do it, depending on the actors. And I do remember describing what she would do. So sometimes when he would come up, it would be depending on the, oh god, we're running late on the show. We need to, because the pre-show would already be in there. Once the show's already in, depending on, timing, it would be a 20-minute show. So a 25-minute show, but Kimberly would have to be in and out in less than 10 minutes. Like, she would have to literally run downstairs, get up, start the next show, and then be off the stage. She wouldn't even, she would come off the lift on the bottom and roll out and then run away. She would literally run up the stairs and then, literally have to run up as they were beginning the pre-show, because we said that we'd hit a go button, which is a green button that says, okay, we're set here. We tell the control room, hey, Kimberly's on her way. So it would tell everybody, hey, be on time for the show was all about timing. Sometimes she was running late, so sometimes she would be like, she'd go up to the control panel, start the show, and the T-1000, what the hell, security? Okay, I'm getting, the T-1000 would come up to her. Sometimes she would walk off, or sometimes she would just run off, depending on what she wanted to do, depending on the actors. I remember when, one of our actresses, Christy, was expecting, was it Christy? No, Christy was expecting, and then there was another one expecting, a baby, and she couldn't do the fallback because of the baby, in utero. So she is the one that kind of did it for like a whole month. She was Kimberly. You could tell she was expecting and having a baby, but she'd come up and she'd be like, oh, and then she would walk off, and then when she got a little bigger, she kind of had to, do her thing, but she was the one that would always kind of, security, you guys don't know how to do your jobs, and just start walking off. Like, I'm going to go talk to your supervisor or something like that. She would make up her own spiel. There was nothing ever in the script for her. Because I asked her, I said, oh, you're the one that does that. And she goes, yeah. She goes, I make it up as I go. I don't really, But it was those three different variations of, okay, they're running late for a show, or somebody's back's hurting them, or there was one day they couldn't even use the stunt pad. They couldn't even, the T-1000 could, but the stunt pad was so worn out, they had to replace a new one. So they had to put a new stunt pad in there, a crash pad, as they call it, where the actor could fall on top of it, and it doesn't hurt them. It's just like a pad that they fall on, and then it would lower into the stage, and they would get off. But that would be like the three different variations of why she would do it. But it was so very random. I remember the week before you came down, they did it, and I was like, oh. I tried grabbing my cell phone, I was like, I might get in trouble, but I tried recording it, but I couldn't find it. And then there was one, the second ending or third ending, where the laser gun would stay on the stage.
Yeah.
I asked about that when I first started the T2, and I said, what the hell's the deal with that? And they go, oh, it's sometimes the Act 3 lift doesn't work, so we have to leave the gun there and then go up the ladder. Yeah. And then, there was a fire pole for John, so John could slide down faster. I took the fire pole down one day. I got to climb up there, actually, and take it down, because it was pretty cool. And then you got to run down the stairs and then go into the Act 3 lift. Sometimes the Act 3 lift wasn't ready in time, or just wasn't functioning. So the Terminator would leave it there. But what they would do, as you wouldn't even know, you wouldn't really notice from your angle, is the gun would actually lower. So they would place it there, the gun would actually lower, the technician would take it off the Act 3 lift, the actors would stand on top of it, and during that, Act 4, they would come up, and there you would see them, and then they would lower. So you would be sometimes so fast. And then, that one too, sometimes the gun, the lift didn't want to go back up, they would just do the no actor, and the lights would just hit, I owe my son's life to the Terminator, and that would happen. So it was so very random. The show was so very random in its own spots. I've asked about so many different endings. I do like the laser gun ending, probably one of my favorite endings, because it looked cool. The fog, and you see the laser, and the lights are just hitting the gun. I thought that was really cool. I remember one guy trying to actually steal the gun. Some guy actually tried running up and grabbing it. And somebody grabbed him, and they stopped him in time, so they were like, what are you doing? He was like, oh, I thought I could, like, no. A technician came out just in time to grab him, we grabbed him, so, yeah. That was fun.
There's always one who has to try, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I got to hold the gun a couple times, I got to, play with it. Some of the newer ones were cool, the older ones were really broken. Sometimes the light didn't even light up on it. It didn't even, do anything. They were kind of heavy. I remember one guest actually got hit in the face with it by accident. I felt so bad for that guy. I wasn't because the way that the actors would run, they would run thugh the back section, but the actor Mark came up came a little tighter than he should have, and the guest was kind of head was kind of out a little bit, and Mark kind of clocked him with it by accident. So the guest got a nice little pop of the gun in his face. He didn't mean to, but he apologized to the guy and everything, and it happens. It's just so dark in there when you're wearing sunglasses, you know? It's the nature of the beast.
Yeah, perhaps it's an honor to get hit. And I don't think there are many people who can say they were hit by a Terminator.
Yeah, I've literally gotten away with one, and back the guest came running towards me, and I went, "Oh!" And luckily, I kind of looked at, because usually it would be the John Connor, the actor first, whoever was playing John, and then the Terminator. And thank God that John Connor saw me and saw what was going on. He slowed down, and so did the Terminator, because the guest was running toward, because they were so terrified. And I was like, "Oh my God!" So I grabbed them and I pulled them to the side door. And the minute I got out and got everything taken care of, I went backstage to go use the restroom for the next show. And they go, "Good call on that." I went, "Oh, you're welcome." I was like, "I'm sorry I had to do that." They're like, "No, thank you," because I would have kicked him. Because he was ready to kick the guy. He was like, "I'm ready to kick that dude. I was ready to jump over you and kick him." He's like, "I thought he was coming to beat you up." I said, "No, I was coming to pull him back for you." But we've had a fun time. Like I said, the one time I can say a funny story. One of our actors landed on my shoulders on purpose.
Yeah, I think you've mentioned that.
Yeah, I was trying to stop a guest, and he comes down off the rope. It was John Connor coming out of the station. I had to come and stop the guest. Otherwise, it was like he kicks the guest, and the actor knew me very well, was good friends with me, so he was like, "Hey," comes on down. Mom, they've already started. And he comes down slow, and he lands right on my shoulders. I went, "Can you get off now?" He went, "Hi, Ollie, how you doing?" I went, "You bastard." He comes out and he starts like slapping me. He goes, the actors were so much fun. It was a great family over there. I miss the team a lot.
I believe you. It was noticeable at the last day when the shows were closing and both groups of cast had their final show. It all felt like one big family indeed.
That was probably the weirdest day of my life.
With the cast, with the crew, technicians, everybody.
It was weird because every show we had a lot of old Terminators. We had cast I didn't even get to meet. And you got to meet quite a few of them. I was shocked. I mean, I'm so grateful that you got to be there, because I don't think I would have done what you would have done with all the photos, and you got to ask so many damn questions. And for those who haven't watched Maurice's video, the video of his montage was great and beautiful. I sent it over to some of the cast and crew, and they're like, "That was pretty good." I do like the ending of it, though, the little Easter egg with the girl, like, there's somebody making a video.
Yeah, I ran into her on YouTube. I noticed her when we were filming, and she asked me when we had filmed that part, "Are you from a TV channel, or what are you filming?" Because she thought we were looking very professional. As if in my eyes we were not, but she asked all these questions, and I said, "No, we're from just a big fan. We're from the Netherlands," and she already noticed our strange accent.
Strange accent.
So after she has her own vlog. So after that, she started vlogging again about us, and I ran into that segment on YouTube. So I asked her if I could use it and have her permission, and it was all good. So I added that as
a little Easter egg. Yeah, I thought that was beautiful.
Thing there at the end after credits.
That was
funny.
That was funny. I really enjoyed it. You and your sister were amazing, and it was kind of cool to meet you both and finally meet you in person, and then getting in touch with everybody there. Yeah. Everybody was like, "Who's Maurice?" I'm like, "Maurice is right here," and everybody felt like Jeremy got to meet you, and Dakota finally got to talk to you, and
yeah,
it was really cool to actually sit down and get to know who you really were. You know, you have kids and your sister, and it's like, I mean, that was a big trip for both of you guys. You're like, I'm gonna try to make it. I don't know, and for somebody to come around the world and then, school us in our Terminator knowledge, you're like, "Oh no, Japan's still open, guys." We're like, "No, it's not." "Yes, it is." And then break out your phone and show everybody. You're like, "See, I told you." You're like, "Oh, damn, you're right." And
yeah,
it was really cool.
So I have more stuff hopefully coming up. As you may know, I'm still planning to make that more generic Terminator 2 3D documentary.
Mm-hmm.
about the show and all the venues and all the stuff most people don't even know of, have never even seen. Like I have storyboards of the original version of the show. It's not the one you're seeing right now, but the original version where there was a male Cyberdyne presentator guy who showed it was more about tachyon past. He showed a vision into the future, so they're opening a time window, and then you see the future war going on, and suddenly the T-1000 leads through it, and John and Sarah are there, and they rush back into the future, and even the parts with the mini hunter are completely different. It's not happening in a parking garage, but John and Terminator are still on the motorcycle when the mini hunter starts chasing them, and Terminator manages to destroy most of them and catches one while driving the motorcycle, and then he drives into a group of skeletons and tosses that mini hunter in the group and shoots it to generate a large explosion and to destroy them. The whole show was completely different from the version you were seeing in the theater.
Gotcha.
So I hope to show more stuff like that.
I would love to see, because like it's cool to like talk with all the performers and like tell me what they've told me, and they're like, a lot of them just remember it as being this, and a lot of them didn't know what it was going to be, and it was so secretive, and this was like back in like 96, 95. They didn't know. I mean, they were just like, what?
Yeah, but even Universal had doubts when the show was still being made. At one point, they had so much doubt that they asked Landmark Entertainment to, while working on this 3D stunt show, they also asked for other concepts. So they even designed a roller coaster more ride. They even had something more interactive where one would see the future and have to fight in it. More different designs like that. Those things are interesting too.
That's really weird. Yeah, I would definitely watch some of that stuff. I know it's like Universal now is in the state that they're in now. It's like they're now having to take chances again, and they're now having to go, oh shit, we can't do this style of concept anymore because people have seen it. We can't put shit out there because people are tired of seeing it.
Yeah.
They need to stop half-assing it and start doing things, taking risks and chances, because people want to see the risks. They want to see the chances. And I remember like when I first, from the second to last year, and this was like when we were closing down T2 from a night show. I think our last show was like 7:30, 8:30, something like that, like a 9 o'clock closing. And people don't realize you do a show at 8:30. You're done by 8:55, and the park closes at 9. What do you mean? What do you mean you guys can't do a show? It's like, we can't do a show because the actors are now done. They have things they got to go do. They got to drop off all their gear. The weapons cages got to be shut down. Everything's got to be accounted for. And I remember this couple comes out to me, and I'm getting almost ringed at. This guy screamed at, this is ridiculous. We spent all this money. We've been here since 9 o'clock in the morning. Where the fuck were you? You should have been here at like fucking 9:30. Our first show was at 9:30. Terminator is all I come to do, and yada yada yada. But this couple said something really cool, and they stated, is there anything more like this? And I said, more like this? I said, we loved the show. It was great. This is something we've been looking for. We can't do rides. We can't really do much craziness, and this was like amazing. I'm like, oh, okay. Like Shrek 40 is the only one. Like it. You can ask for non-motion seats. And they came back the next day and saw me again and saw it again and said it was just fucking outstanding. They're like, this is something we've been looking for. Like, we're not big fans of T2, but holy shit, it was that good. I said, oh, great. I mean, I'm happy to hear that. So
the whole concept is amazing.
And
it just got outdated at some point.
It got outdated, and even towards the last end, the end stretch, it wasn't really outdated. It was just so much to fucking repair. It was just 3D. The 3D was to me, and knowing the Getty images, I don't believe how real that is. Knowing what I know and being there personally, the 3D really, I think it was, like I said, the big nail in the coffin because of just the 1.5 million that we were told the conversion rate, and then So it was about almost $2 million just to do the full 3D conversion. That's fucking ridiculous. And I knew Universal was like, nope, we're not going to spend that kind of money. We don't, we got it, but we don't want to spend it, And I believe that was the big nail in the coffin.
I am still curious how Universal feels now about closing the show, because now we're getting Terminator Dark Fate, again with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Linda Hamilton, Edward Furlong, and...
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know what they're feeling.
And with James Cameron back, so you have the original group of actors back for a new Terminator movie.
Which is fucking wonderful, because we didn't even know like Genesis was gonna have Arnold in it, and then it's like Arnold, and it's the funny thing is like when T2 was like in its mid run too, we were told okay, James Cameron sold off the rights, and then he got the rights back, and we were guys, we were told so many times we were done. Terminator 2 was closing. We were told they're not Paramount's not doing their thing. They want the rights back. All this shit over the years. I mean, I don't know what they would have done.
I don't know. I know the Gary Goddard group was working on a Terminator Salvation attraction, which was more an interactive ride. I think where you also should.
It was at Six Flags Magic Mountain, I believe. It was like a Genesis.
No, that's I think that's the roller coaster you're talking about.
Yeah, that's the only one I could think of.
Yeah, but the Gary Goddard group was also working on another Terminator Salvation ride. I think Wings of Freedom was one of the working titles for that show. You can still find concept art on their official website.
Oh, wow.
And I always thought that would have been T2-3D's replacement if the show was ever to stop but keep the Terminator license. And I talked to Gary Goddard during the final show, and he told me it was not a replacement for Terminator 2 3D, but he could also not tell me who for which theme park the show the new ride was designed and what the plans were with that.
There's a lot of NDAs and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just
I completely understand it, but I still have my feeling that could have been perhaps a replacement for the show.
Yeah, like I said, the biggest one that was coming up for us was definitely Genesis, and we were almost there, and being able to see like what was going on in the queue. Like I said, nobody else saw the queue video but myself, and I wasn't even really supposed to be there that early, but I just kind of walked in, and the guy with his laptop, and he played it, and they're like, "Do you remember what you saw?" And I'm like, "It was this really cool video of like Genesis and this thing, and that's why the music was what it was." But then we were told like a day later they had to cut it all out because they didn't cross the T's and dot the I's, and they didn't have permission rights to use this and that.
Yeah.
And
if you remember who that guy was, you need to track him down.
I don't even remember who he was. Like it was like said, it was such like oh my god an epiphany. It was like a blue shirt tech, AV tech. Yeah. So I don't remember I know where he's at. I don't know if he's still at the company. I don't really, it's not like I can remember, like, hey, do you remember when? It's like, he wouldn't even fucking remember. He'd be like, he's like, yeah, I just, kind of like a nobody who just, plugs stuff in and doesn't even remember. So, he was just doing what he was told to do,
Yeah, but never underestimate a nobody, because even nobodies can know a lot of stuff about shows.
Yeah.
And keep the show in the heart. And may know more about it than others do.
True.
You never know.
Oh yeah, you never know. Yeah, I mean it's very just intriguing, but like I said, I'm excited for Terminator Dark Fate. That blew me out of the water. I'm so happy for that. That's what got another freaking concept. Everybody was like, what if it's Terminator Dark, another Terminator show? I'm like, no. That's definitely.
I don't think they will do another new Terminator show.
Like everybody's like, it's gonna be another Terminator. I'm like, no, it's not. I was like, Terminator. So the problem with Dark Fate, and hate me on it if you will, I'm a huge Terminator fan. Nevertheless, guys, I love the films. They're always one of my favorite movies. But the problem is, like, you only have a slim of us that are huge fans of it, and then others that are just like, yeah, I'll go see it, but I'm not really all about it. So I think they're gonna do fine in the box office. They'll make their money in the long run, but they're going to have the big fans go see it first, who want to go see it, and then it's like, blah, it's kind of like Salvation was like that, Genesis was definitely like that. I was probably only like the fourth person in the theater watching Genesis, which was sad.
Yeah,
It was what it was.
True. I must say, I still don't know what to think about Dark Fate because I have read the leaks about the story, and if those are true, I'm not too happy with the direction they are going. I understand that the original actors are too old to keep continue doing new Terminator movies. I understand that the torch has to be passed to younger actors so they can continue developing this franchise into a new direction with new movies. They can use the younger actors and do not have to worry about the original older actors anymore.
Yeah.
But from what I have read, I'm not sure if I'm all too happy with the direction they are going. I will not say too much about it to not spoil the surprises for everybody.
Yeah, I've heard a couple of them. I've got a couple of my ether popped up, and I'm like, okay, that person's showing up, and this is gonna happen. But it's like the problem is, it's like with Salvation trying to do like a revamp. It's like, how do these movies all interconnect, and should they interconnect? And it's like everybody's like, well, I like Terminator 1, but I really love Terminator 2. Really like Sarah Connor Chronicles, but it's just like Terminator 3. I really didn't. It was good for this, but I really couldn't fall with it. And
in my view, Salvation is the worst Terminator movie. I still have to give them the credit for having the balls to do at least something different than all the other movies, because all the other movies are Protector and Assassin. Terminator are traveling back in time to protect someone.
Yeah, repeating itself.
It's all a repeat of the first two movies, or the first movie. It's all rehash, and Salvation, while in my book still a very bad and illogical movie, at least attempted to do something different, to show us the future war we've been teased with all those other movies.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know what this one is going to be. I don't think it's going to play well in the long run. I feel iffy. I don't know why I feel iffy, but it's just like I know. I hate giving my soul to something and then like, oh, I loved it. Oh no, we're going to cancel everything. We have no plans on renewing it. James Cameron said no, and just a lot of crap that goes along with it. I'm just like, God damn it.
Well, it's a third attempt to create a new
universe,
a new trilogy.
Yeah,
a new universe. But with Salvation, they wanted to create a new trilogy with future war movies. But this was cancelled after a bad performance at the box office. Genesis tried the same, tried it in an perhaps more intelligent way of introducing younger new actors to perform the same parts of the '94 movie, and tried to restart a new trilogy with it, and not even bound to the Terminator 2 movies, because it all happened in 1984 in the original first Terminator movie, and after that they changed the future so much they could go any way they wanted with the stories. However, that was also a failure at the box office, and now this is the third attempt to create a new trilogy with younger actors, and now with Dark Fate.
I don't know. Even with James Cameron coming back on and Arnold being in his age, and
I know, but it feels somehow weird, because the things you were told in Terminator 1 and 2, the people you were told to believe in would do that, and this is the enemy. This will all, if the leaks are true at least, this will all completely change in the new movie. You will get a new enemy, you will get a new savior of mankind. You will get completely a new characters and things which are not in line with the stories you've always heard of, believed in with the previous movies.
Right.
I don't want to spoil too much.
No, don't spoil for those who don't really planning to go see it. But yeah, I kind of picked up a couple of it myself, and I went, oh, I kind of didn't want to know that, but I'm going to go nevertheless and see it. I'm a huge, like I said, Terminator fan.
You never know if the leaks are true, and
no, you really don't.
Sometimes the leak, the public reaction to a leak can even change a movie. I don't know if you heard about Terminator Salvation. Originally had a different ending, in which the final ending we have now is Marcus offering John his heart to John, so John might live on to be this prophesied savior of mankind. But the original ending did have John Connor dying. They would craft his skin onto the Marcus hybrid, so Marcus would pose for John Connor, while the original John Connor is dead.
Oh wow!
And that was the original, and that one leaked. And there was such a negative backlash from the fans that they changed it into a very illogical ending. Because who can perform an open heart surgery in an open desert in a future world dominated by a robot? It's hard to believe. And they even had another ending in which, after the skin was crafted on Marcus, and Marcus would pose as John Connor, he would kill the entire elite club of the main characters and turn out to be still a Skynet robot and destroy the resistance from within.
Oh god, that sounds awful.
Yeah, so I'm glad sometimes the leaks cause a change in the story, but yeah, it's hard to change a complete story when the whole script has been finished and you need to rework an ending or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I believe we're pretty much almost on the 3-hour mark. I don't know how you're feeling, but I think we pretty much got everything for this one.
I'm stopping within a few minutes. It's 11:30 in the evening already here now.
Yeah, it's about almost 6 o'clock. It's about half past 5:30 right now. So, yeah, I mean, we pretty much got everything in the books. Hopefully, the next one we can a little more deep dive. Dakota Bulls, we keep mentioning. Huge Terminator fan. Definitely wanted to be on this podcast, but this one took a while. This one took, almost a year. It's closing.
I think longer, but the blame is entirely on me. It's my fault.
Oh no, not at all. I always want to make sure. Like I was looking back and I'm like, oh my god. I was like, when do we? It's like when you have things to do and you got a family, we understand, and the podcast goes nowhere. So this is your second one ever, I guess. So
yeah, I don't do the only podcast I have done are the ones with you. This is my second one.
Oh man, I could definitely see you doing a YouTube channel about T2, and I think people would be really interested in knowing all the Easter eggs. Because there's a lot of things I don't even know about Salvation.
I even have a lot of stuff I've never shared or behind the scenes stuff people don't know about it. Some things I am not allowed to share, and the other thing is. Things to create, it takes time, and time is a hard thing at the moment for me.
I can totally agree.
Spent in making those videos, especially the one I already mentioned.
The editing, just the editing process.
I really hope to create and finish that one because I know I have so much stuff to tell and to show, which a lot of people don't even know about. I love to share it, but it takes a lot of time.
Gotcha.
If I look at the progress I've made since the show closed till now, it's not much. I've been collecting a lot of videos and images for it, and I've been writing a blueprint of the whole documentary setup and structure, but it just takes time to edit it in video editing software.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's been.
But hopefully one day, within now and 10 years, I can release it. And I hope a lot of people still know what the T2-3D was back then.
I think with all your insight and kind of your museum and backlog of it all, it's going to be. The thing with T2 and the building to where it is, and with Universal, people are very, very adamant of what Universal was and is. Doesn't matter where you are on property or when you were a kid or whatever. Everybody sees the Simpsons building and sees, Back to the Future. T2 has kind of become that. I mean, T2 was probably second to the last original building, Horror Makeup being one of the almost original, and E.T. being the last original.
E.T. is the one, from what I understood, Universal cannot touch.
They really can't. No, they've talked with Spielberg, and the problem with E.T. being E.T. is it's so historic, and people, when they come to Universal, where's E.T.? Where's E.T.? We get asked that probably about 20 times an hour. Where's E.T.? How do I get to E.T.? How do I get to Harry Potter? Nobody asks about anything else. And like I said, lately it's been, hey, do you remember that show Terminator? Where's Terminator? Oh, Terminator. Like I said, I was kind of bummed out and sad, and somebody actually recognized me from Jimmy Fallon, as working at T2. They went, wait a minute, you worked at Terminator, yeah, a couple years ago? I said, yep. They went, oh man, that was a good show. I went, yeah, it was. But they didn't realize the Terminator was standing right behind me. Ben was actually, Ben, who was cast A, is actually a coordinator. So what he does is he'll work with entertainment and tell them, hey, you got to do this, you got to do this, and he'll listen to what they're singing and say, okay, what can I do for you today? How's your schedule looking? You guys need to swing a little bit higher or be on set this time. So he was actually taking notes on some of the actors, but he was standing right there, and he heard that.
I've also seen him perform as a street actor as a Man in Black guy, correct?
Yeah, he's done that. The funny thing that he was saying the other day, about a few months ago when we went to our new venues and stuff, and he was coming up the stairs, and you wouldn't recognize him. Honestly, you wouldn't. If he had the sunglasses on, he really looks like Arnold, like a younger Arnold. Walks up and he said, hey, and he's Australian, so he's got his Australian accent. Very nice guy. And he's telling us a funny story. I go, hey man, how's it going? How's your day? He goes, oh yeah. He goes, so the other day I was working in the streets. He had to go work, take a note on somebody. And he said somebody came up to him and said, oh, my granddaughter really misses the show. And he goes, oh, and yeah, it used to be here, but they closed it down recently. And Ben's thinking, oh my God, I guess they recognized me, as Arnold, And the guy goes, yeah, the Beetlejuice show. And he goes, oh. So really blows the wind out of his sail. He goes, oh God, the guy's going to recognize me as Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he goes, yeah, the Beetlejuice show. That show was really good. I don't know why they got rid of that shit. Universal's really, letting stuff go, And Ben's just like, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I started laughing. I go, that's gonna suck, Ben. He goes, yeah, because I really thought he was gonna say Terminator, but because he gave Ben like a really hard stare, like I recognize you from somewhere, But Ben was like, oh shit, here it comes. But yeah, man, it's been a great chat. I can't thank you enough for hitting me up this morning at 9 a.m. our time, my time. It's late your time, so. We'll definitely have to do part 3. I'll figure out what we can talk about.
We'll have to pick a date, and then we will definitely do part 3 together with Dakota.
I'm thinking the best thing to be chatting about would be Dark Fate when that finally comes out. I'm thinking we'll probably all see it and probably have to talk about that, and hopefully we'll have more updates on the new Terminator building and stuff like that, and we'll go from there.
Oh, that's also fine with me. We can do it after seeing Dark Fate, not a problem.
Yeah, I mean, whatever works for you, and you guys took a lot of stuff on your plate, and, you're still unboxing and getting your collection still together, but where can everybody send your stuff if they find any of the Kimberly clips and stuff like that?
You can always reach out to me on Facebook on my Hope of the Future Terminator fan page. That's also one way, or just try to find me at Facebook. My name is Maurice Huijs, and if you find a guy with a Terminator 2-3D cast picture in his Facebook header, then it's me.
Okie doke, so they know where to find it. So hopefully you guys find
something. Or it can also through email. My email is hopeofthefuture2029@yahoo.com.
Awesome. So hopefully you guys can find something for him. Like I said, he's looking for the Kimberly clip. So if anybody out there in any other country has the clip, because some of us weren't able to stop you, or some of the endings of the show, he would really love to see those. And I mean, he's really good.
Yes, please.
Definitely hit him up. He's definitely knowledgeable, and like as you guys listen to the podcast, I'm pretty sure you're like, oh my God, I want to see the show. Well, we've seen the show. It's on YouTube now, but I'm pretty sure Maurice will have better stuff for you to find it, and he's definitely curated a lot of it for you guys to know with Japan and Hollywood and stuff like that. So he's been at every single one, even the one in Movie Land over in the one in Italy.
Yes, Italy.
Italy, yeah.
Yes.
That's how I found out about you. Yeah. I had no idea.
That one was also. I think that one also closed in 2017. The Terminator show.
Oh wow, that was a weird one. I didn't. You're the only one that I would have known that show existed.
They had three variations of the show. The show changed a few times during its run. It was first a Terminator 2 live show, and then it has a similar plot. Like John and Sarah breaking in to Cyberdyne, getting chased by the T-1000, and eventually crashing into the steel mill and destroying the T-1000 there, and the T-800 dropping on the molten steel. And then it changed into the Terminator 5D show, which added some a 3D movie. And even then, it even looked more and more like the Universal T2-3D show. They even had a spider end boss, to say it like this. The big bad of the show was the T-Mac, also in 3D. And after a few years, it changed into a shooter, a game. And I've never witnessed that one. I've only seen some YouTube videos of it. Every visitor gets a more light gun and has to shoot on designated targets on the screen. They even had robots in the show, not T-70s, but T-300, if I remember correctly.
Oh wow!
It's very similar in setup, like the Universal show. But then eventually it was changed to the shooting show. And everybody got their own score, and at the end of the day, you could see which was the best shooter. And it changed in 2017 into an Android show, something also related to robots. But after that, I have not followed it anymore. And it's even harder to get footage of those shows because it's a very unknown theme park in the show.
Yeah, I completely understand with that one, yeah.
But that's the one in Italy, very similar, like T2-3D, but not as good in quality as the Universal show.
No, not at all. It holds no candle. No, holds no candle.
No, no, those cannot be compared.
No, not by any means. When you're holding a director and actors that are just phenomenal compared to that, it's like, what? Yeah. But it was really cool to see yours, yeah.
Well, yeah, you have to. I still have to give them credit to build that show, and where the T2-3D show uses the original actors in their 3D video. The one in Italy filmed this show in 3D at their own property, so in their theme park they filmed it with their own performers. So there is a very good match between the actors you're seeing on screen and the ones running around in the show, but because those are the same people.
Which is really cool.
They completely recreated, filmed that show especially for that attraction with their own actors.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember seeing the original. It was pretty still badass. Yeah, I was like, this is really. Because we were all watching it in the break room one day. Somebody brought it in. I think I brought it in to somebody. I pulled it off of YouTube, and I'm like, I know I'm gonna probably get yelled at for this, but we all watched it, and everybody was like, "What is this from?" And I found the Japan show, and we watched it, and people loved it. They're like, "Oh, this is cool."
Yeah, I do found my video of a documentary about the Italy show. That's what I'm trying to do, to inform people about Terminator theme park shows, attractions, and rides that are all out there. I also made one of the Six Flags roller coaster and various ones of the Universal show. So that's the fun for me. That's what I'm trying to do with my video documentary.
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing them. I think we're all, going to get more people excited to see them. I know the editing process takes freaking forever because I've still got so many podcasts to edit, and it's just like, when is this one coming out? It's like, I'm almost done editing. Sorry.
Yeah, I share your pain. I know it.
Yeah, I think I got over 7 videos I got to edit, and they are long and are just time to edit. It's like but yeah, I've had a blast talking and learning so much, and it can be grateful to get to know you, and looking forward to part 3 when that happens.
Me too.
So
I will close this conversation with the words, thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm.
And nice talking to you, and till part 3.
Okay, till part 3, guys. No paid.
Okay, thanks everybody.
Have a good one, guys. See ya.
Okay, bye.
You've been listening to an Open Mind Industries production. For everything Open Mind, visit openmindindustries.com. Keep an open mind.